Round 2. Fight!
Okay, guys, welcome everyone to the finals of the Fire 2 Open. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with my co-host Nerdcube, Eric, for those that know him. And we are, as you'll know me to say, we're fired up for this one. This is going to be an incredible grand finals for this tournament here. And we're heading into it with 4 of the best Terra Mystica players in the world. So Eric, I'll throw it over to you to just give us a little bit of an intro into the players and who we're looking at here.
Yeah, so Zoras, Sprockets, Geno, and Hephaestus, like you said, absolutely loaded finals. Sprockets and Zoras, of course, being 2 of the top 3 ELO players on Board Game Arena. 2 of the top 7, I believe, all time on Snellman. So they're just absolute legends of the game. You know, they've proven again and again that they are some of the biggest names and faces in the community. And then Geno and Hephaestus, who beat both of them to advance into the finals here. So, despite the fact that they haven't, made the name for themselves that the others have, like the fact that they advanced on the back of beating 2 of these legends, makes them absolutely worthy to be here. Hephaestus with his second, in a row back-to-back finals appearances. We saw him last season in the Fire 2 Open finals. So again, he's been discredited a little bit, not been given the credit he deserves, but he's back here again to prove everyone wrong. And then Geno, who we can see here from the bracket, ran the table against, some strong players. He beat me, he beat Rainier, he beat Zoras. He's the only person to be here in the finals, undefeated. So this is an absolutely loaded finals, and I'm super excited for it.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the things I'll just layer on here is that you have this kind of, these pairs that, if you will, you've got Zoras and Sprockets, like you said, who are just absolute legends of the game. I mean, possibly, and we were just, me and Eric were chatting earlier about some of the kind of the titans of Terra Mystica in the past. And this, this guy named Zivok, who was before our time, or certainly before I played, he was one of the best. And then even to me, when I started playing, and I started playing a lot more recently than I think some of the viewers here, and Eric, that's for sure, Sprockets was almost like semi-retired. And he's kind of like, to me, come out of retirement to come back and maybe he was never really retired, but came out of retirement to come in and play in this big tournament. And then Zoras just being like such a face of the community. But then Geno and Hephaestus, just these are like these big tournament players. I think Geno also had a deep run in that MSO tournament as well. If not, I'm not sure, he may have actually won it. And so he got second place then. But so these guys are coming out to play in every way, and it's just wonderful. It's gonna be an awesome matchup. So Eric here, I think we're about to see some of the best factions of the players here. I'll let you kind of dive into what this looks like.
Yeah, so no surprise here. We can see Giants showing up on the best factions of everyone. This is, of course, because the Giants are the best faction in Terra Mystica. We all know that. But an interesting thing to hear too is the presence of the gray factions. Almost everyone loves dwarves. Hephaestus prefers engineers. But yeah, we see a really interesting selection here. No one's best factions includes like Darklings or Cultists, which are traditionally seen as the strong factions. We see Hephaestus with the Kiers. So yeah, really interested to see how anyone tries to gain an advantage here, because they do have a fairly similar across the board strengths of factions.
It definitely looks like, and one of the things that I'll just point out here, so on the left, guys, for those that haven't caught up to that yet, it's your average place, and then on the right side it's going to be your average score. And so something there that's just kind of remarkable is that Sprockets' average place is just, he wins every time, and his average scores are unbelievably high. I mean, like a really, really strong Terra Mystica score or average is, high 140s, and so to be in the 160s, 170s, I mean, just there's not really much else to say other than that's just world class. And I think one of the things that those in the Terra Mystica competitive community often wonder is like, are these scores being inflated by some of the asynchronous games that are being played? And I think for sure they are, because those are generally against some weaker competition. But irregardless of the fact that that might be against some weaker competition or not, it's completely and utterly insane. I mean, even if I was to play a Terra Mystica game with 3 random players that have never played before, just being able to capture that much raw point scoring is unbelievable. Just see here if we can get. It looks like we just dropped Eric here for a second, but he'll be back in a second. On the preferred factions, and this is just the past 60 games, it looks like we have a lot of witches here. And Eric, are we welcoming you back?
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, and do you want to just dive into some of these preferred factions here?
Yeah, so again, fairly interesting to see that the preferred factions have a lot of overlap again too. Zora, Sprockets, and Hephaestus all preferring witches. Sprockets and Hephaestus Darklings, Zoras and Geno Swarmlings, Zoras and Hephaestus Nomad. So, and there's actually not much overlap with the last slide, which shows which ones they're best with. So, like, no one's best factions were actually Darklings, or few were witches or Swarmlings. So, it's going to be really interesting to see like how someone tries to gain an advantage here. I think something that I've talked about in the past has been that if you're going into a game as an underdog, sometimes trying to do something weird with the faction selection is sometimes how you can gain an advantage. Trying to play a matchup that the other stronger players with more experience maybe haven't seen. So we might see like trying to throw witches into an engineers setup, just to try to throw some chaos into the mix. Since that's like a matchup that Sprockets and Zorts maybe haven't played or practiced as often.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things too is you get these kind of games within games in a lot of Terra Mystica, especially when you've got 2 extremely strong players at a table and 2 weaker players at a table. Sometimes it can come down to you make these moves that are just to bow that one other player. That's actually not going to be possible here. Right. I mean, no matter how strong Sprockets and Zoras are, Geno and Hephaestus are world-class players. And if they start to take their eye off of, completely optimal lines for themselves and for scoring as well as they can, Geno and Hephaestus are just going to eat that up. Like there's no way you can focus on just one person here.
Yeah.
And it looks like production just threw up the match history as well. This actually tells, the story that I think a lot of the viewers know already. And the glaring thing out here is Sprockets hasn't played anyone, right? Sprockets doesn't play because he is semi-retired and he plays asynchronously. That being said, he's in the finals of the most prestigious Terra Mystica tournament, happening right now. So he's obviously got an insane amount of game. And, as we can see here, the 2 that play the most are Zoras and Hephaestus, and Zoras has a pretty definitive advantage. I know, Eric, you were mentioning earlier before the stream started that Geno has taken 3 of 4 off of Zoras, so it's a nice little tidbit that we've got.
Yeah, I think Geno comes in as the lowest rated player of this group. Like him and Hephaestus are close, but of course they're all strong players. But yeah, no one's talking about 3-1 versus Zoras all time. Like that's a crazy win rate against one of the strongest players in the world. And like I said, he ran through arguably the strongest competition to get here, taking first place in both of his games.
I think unquestionably Geno had the hardest pass to the finals. Like he started out in the death group and then just ran the gauntlet, like absolute one after another. Like this guy's playing completely on fire right now. And that's the only way you get here, right? This tournament claimed a lot of extremely strong players. And I think also for those viewers right now, I know we're getting into it here, but we talked a lot about Zoras and Sprockets being two of probably the 3 best players of all time. I think one of the people in the conversation as well as my co-host here, Eric, which is it's going to be a treat here, guys, to listen to some of his analysis, and I'm excited to dive into this game.
And something I want to talk about too is, so we see that 3-1 record with Geno and Zoras. Zoras has talked a little bit about in a couple of his winners interviews or like his post game interviews that he has maybe like picked factions or like played an auction in a bit of a conservative way, like knowing that second place has had an opportunity to advance for the past couple rounds. So it is possible that like his play in the last couple rounds has been like with that intention of, he's playing knowing that like second place is a valid option, but that's not here anymore. And so maybe we'll see him play with a little bit of a different play style against Gino than he has previously.
Awesome. Are we?
All right, so I think we're getting ready to start.
Yeah, perfect. Let's get the game pulled up here. I think there's some conspiracy theories in the chat here. We got some people saying that Sprocket's left ladder the week that Zorus joined. So for all those people that think Sprocket's is Zorus, this is probably the end of that one.
Has that been a conspiracy? we're starting it here.
we got Ondus in here. I mean, Ondus one of the driving forces behind alt accounts in the Terra Mystica community. Just out here saying he's never seen them in the same place at the same time. So this is I think this is part of the reason our production here added some player cams for the stream today. Okay, guys. So this is I always find this to be kind of a treat. Like one of the things that I love about Terra Mystica more than a lot of other games is that you kind of get this reveal when the game has started, and you get to see the game that you're playing. And so, we see here the scoring track, we see here the bonus tiles, and I'm going to pass over to Eric here to get his analysis and just really, really see what he thinks this game is about to bring. And we've got Gino in the first seat as well, getting ready to pick, and we'll make some comments around that when it comes to it. But yeah, Eric, what do you see here? What are you seeing here on the bonus tiles on the track?
Well, we see in round one temple scoring. So pretty, most factions are going to be able to take advantage of that fairly well. Temple in round one, of course, is a good sign of the Giants game. Build that temple, take Earth 1. So I expect to see Giants picked, of course, because they're everyone's best faction. No, but really, so one of the big things I'm looking at here too is that the last two rounds are both trading post rounds. So when you're looking at any setup, one of the things you're trying to identify is it a higher scoring setup or is it a lower scoring setup? In this setup, we see round 3, round 4, both Sanctuary Stronghold. It's going to be difficult for most factions to get out both their Sanctuary and their Stronghold by the end of round 4. So really only one of those events is probably going to score for most factions. And then round 5 and 6 are back-to-back trading post rounds. And again, it's going to be hard for factions to save all of their trading post building till the very end of the game and then just build 5 or 6 trading posts in the last 2 rounds. That's really difficult for most factions to do. And so what this says to me is that this is going to be a lower scoring setup. It's really hard for, with 2 sets of back-to-back of the same type of scoring, players just aren't going to be able to like build up those huge, economies and cash them in for lots of points as if, rounds 4, 5, and 6 were, let's say, dwellings and then trading posts and then dwellings again. That's like a perfect cadence where you build all your dwellings, upgrade them all to trading posts, and then build all the rest of your dwellings again. So this track is definitely a lower scoring track. What that means, so we saw the first pick here being dwarves. Dwarves are a great pick into a low scoring setup. They can build their stronghold in round 4, let's say, use that to decrease the cost of all of their tunnels. And then in round 5 or 6, while everyone else only has a limited number of trading posts they can build to score for those scoring events, the dwarves can be tunneling instead and be getting 4 points per tunnel that way. So I think dwarves are a great pick here. We see swarmlings as well. Swarmlings are a perfect pick. Swarmlings get their trading posts for free every turn. So, like I mentioned, most players won't have the luxury of saving up all of their trading posts till the end of the game and trying to score them there. And swarmlings weren't planning to do that anyways. So in a lower scoring game, swarmlings tend to really thrive on those because they play a very regular game. Like a lot of Stormlings games tend to go very similarly and very predictably. So they don't maybe have the explosive output that some factions have, but they do have the high floor, that a lot of factions don't, and so they thrive in low scoring setups. Do you want to talk a bit about the bonus tiles and what you're seeing there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, contrary to the scoring track where you've got those repeating scoring tiles and the low scoring nature of that track, you do have 3 of the 4 bonus tiles here. So we're missing shipping scoring, we are missing worker power, and we are missing priest. And so, with that stronghold sanctuary bonus in there, it's going to really make that third round sanctuary, or that, third and fourth round sanctuary stronghold, a lot more appealing. So the players are going to definitely want to score off of that because of the nature of having that tile in the game and it being a really efficient way to score. You've got the trading post tile in there, which works counterintuitively to actually the trading posts being in round 5 and 6, because you can't really score strongly on those, as well as you can't score strongly in the 5-6 trading post round, and as well as score well on the trading post passing. And then you've got that dwelling bonus, which I think people are going to try to abuse. Like I imagine we're going to see people after that dwelling bonus almost the entire game, because you're going to build those. You're going to try and spam out those dwellings in round 2, and then sit on that a lot for a lot of points. Having the shovel in there is good because you've only got, one spade on the cult bonuses, the cult rewards there, and that's in round 5. And so that obviously will be an extremely important tile as well. And it looks like we've got a good balance of workers and coins as well. Not like, too much of one or the other. There is a little bit of a lack of power in the game, and that lack of power in the game can make it hard for certain factions to cycle their power. So, factions like Swarmlings and Engineers, those types of factions that cycle their power really well, generally don't have a problem. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you might see some of these players abuse the cult rewards here?
Yeah, so the thing that's really interesting is the first cult reward is priest for 2 coins on a cult, and then we see that priest, whoever picks that priest is probably going to water, because there's 2 water rewards in round 2 and 5. But the interesting thing is that there's not a priest within the bonus tiles. So the bonus tiles we're missing are the shipping points tile, the 3 power 1 worker, and then the priest. So no one's going to have a priest in their inventory except the Darklings. You start with 1. So I suspect that's why Darklings were put in here. That they're very strong with that. Round 1, they're going to have the initiative on putting a priest to a cult. Put that priest to water, get 2 coins, another priest back, and a spade later on in the game out of it, along with whatever points they can win from putting that priest to the cult. So yeah, so we got our 4th selection here. Yeah, so we ended up with Dwarves, Swarmlings, Fakirs, Darklings. Let's talk a little bit about just the relative strength of these factions. We talked about this being a good setup for Dwarves because it's low scoring in the later rounds. I think that's great. The problem I see for Dwarves here is that the bonus tile they get left with might not be pretty good. We mentioned, I mentioned that the worker power and the priest bonus tiles are both not in the game. Those are 2 of the bonus tiles that factions generally like to start with. So the fact that they're not in the game and Dwarves are in the first seat means they're going to be left with the scraps, probably just something with coins on it.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me layering onto that a little bit, and this is just for all of our viewers, like those that are new to Terra Mystica, and I know we have a large expert crowd here, but one of the things that you look for, that I certainly look for, and Eric, I would love your opinion on this as well, is looking at the relative value of the seat. The relative value of the first seat is even stronger than it would normally be when you have 4 really good starting passing tiles, and that's not the case here, right?
Right. Yeah. So the first seat is really important in Terra Mystica because you get a priority on a few things. You get to have the first trading post upgrade of the game, which means you're going to be generally getting more power leech than everyone else, as well as you have priority on taking Earth 1. You have priority on taking power actions that you want. So being in the first seat is generally really good. But here, like you mentioned, it's a lot better if there were 4 bonus tiles that everyone wanted in the game. So the bonus tiles that everyone is usually after in the first round are the spade, the 2 workers, 3 power 1 worker, the priest, and sometimes the 3 power temporary shipping. So the fact that we only see 3 of those in the game, and Dwarves can't even use one of them, the 3 power and temporary shipping is useless to both them and Fakirs. It means there's only really 2 bonus tiles that everyone is like really excited to get here. And so I think that's going to make the selection really interesting. So yeah, like you mentioned, it makes the relative value of Dwarves a lot less. But we see everyone going after Dwarves here. It's so far we're just bouncing back and forth between Dwarves and Darklings.
Of course, and so we'll dive into something that's even more important in terms of this auction. So when we look at this auction here, we have a pretty standard and a pretty classic gray, blue, yellow, black color wheel here. And so this is a pretty standard matchup. I think all four of these players will have a great deal of experience in this color matchup. And let's talk a little bit about how these colors interact and how we see the auction kind of playing out. Maybe we'll start, Eric, with, and I think the viewers always want to know this, is who do you think's best here? And how would you rank these factions? What do you expect the 30 faction to be?
Yeah, so I kind of expect the 30 faction to be Fakirs here. But they're honestly not in that bad of shape. The big thing I think for Fakirs is they've got two interesting openings. So Fakirs are going to be like the big question for Fakir's value, though, I think, is going to be which bonus tile do they start with. So Darklings have the first choice of bonus tile with both the spade and the two workers in the game. Both of those are pretty good for Darklings, and like I could see an argument for choosing either. Which one falls to the Fakirs like dramatically changes what their game plan is that they go for. If they start with the
Correct.
spade, they're going to probably build one temple and a dwelling and start focusing on expanding a little more early. If they don't, if the two workers drop to them, now they have enough workers to build two temples in round one. And so that might be the opening that they go for. So that really kind of is going to make a big difference in Fakir's values, like which one they end up with. I'm not even sure which one they'd prefer to end up with, to be honest.
I think honestly, I think both are reasonable, and I think one of the cool things I see about this track here, and I don't know if anyone will be ballsy enough to pull it off in a grand finals of a tournament, but this is the ideal setup game for Water 2 Darklings. I mean, this is literally you have the only priest, you can throw it to water, you can get Water 2 Darklings going and get both those priests back in your dwelling round like right after. It is a spicy Water 2 Darklings here. I would be salivating over this in a normal game. I don't know if anyone will do it in a big tournament though.
Yeah. We have chat pointing out like how relatively open the cults might be. There's no priest bonus tile in the game, so you're not going to have like an extra priest to a 3-step in the first round. The Fakirs should be using all of their priests for carpet flights throughout the game. So like Swarmlings, Swarmlings and Dwarves are often two like fairly culty factions because Swarmlings start off at 1 step on each cult, and their sanctuary produces 2 priests. And Dwarves don't have anything else to do with their priests because they can't advance shipping. But we could see like a surprise like Darklings play, and like the Darklings play might be to get the read that the cults are relatively open early on, and just take advantage of the fact that you're producing more priests than everyone early, and just throw those on cults. You get 2 coins for them in the first round. You get priests in the second round. Like, and if you take Water 2, you can probably steal some easy third places with Fakirs in the game.
Oh, I think without a doubt, I think Water 2 Darklings here is a really, really strong play. I would love to see it. When we look at these 4 factions here, Dwarves scares me, and the reason for it, Dwarves scare me a little bit, even though Gray is generally great in this matchup, is that, and if we can just get that overlay of the map here, because starting positions really are going to affect the relative value in the auction. Just that one of the things about this base map here is just this triangle up in the northwest, C1, D2, D3. And, Darklings here in this matchup amongst expert players often will start C1. I don't think it's a guarantee, but I think it's certainly where I'd be most comfortable starting. And that little triangle of power there, wherever Dwarves decides to build, you might be in for a spot of like a really hard first couple rounds. I think that's one of the scary things about Dwarves here. And just wondering if that would give you so much pause as to say that, to me, Dwarves and Swarmlings look really similar in terms of power level here. And maybe I'm reading that wrong. I'd love your opinion here.
Yeah, no. What we're seeing a lot of people saying in chat is that Dwarves will likely get left out of a lot of Leech. I think, not to bring up past memories, but I think you played a Dwarves game in this color matchup where you got left out of the Leech, in the last Fire 2 Open. So, and like you mentioned, the bonus tiles don't have a bunch of power on them. There's no worker power. So there's a very real chance that the Dwarves just don't even get the necessary power to take the double spade within the first 2 rounds. Like, it might be there, they just might not have the power to take it. And that could be just absolutely disastrous if they're not able to expand and get their worker economy going. That idea that I talked about of using rounds 5 and 6 to to be tunneling and getting points that way while everyone else is running out of trading posts to build. That only works if you're actually, have enough
Able to
work
do it.
able to do it. So dwarves like building a temple and rushing to take Earth 1, at the very least doesn't seem like their game plan. I think, if dwarves are going to have a good game, they're probably going to have to take an economic favor, either, Air 2, Earth 2, and, hope that swarmlings aren't after Earth 1 this game and that they can just take it later, maybe build a round 3 sanctuary and take Earth 1 then. But yeah, I definitely am pretty worried for dwarves in this matchup because of the lack of leech. Swarmlings, Fakirs, and Darklings. Just to talk really quick about the upsides for all of them. Swarmlings look like, this is like we said, this is a great matchup for Swarmlings, a great setup. They've got the Sanctuary Stronghold points scoring tile in the game. They love to build both of those buildings early. The track kind of lines up with that. They can build their Sanctuary in round 3. They'll be building their Stronghold in round 1. And then the trading post passing points tile is there too. So both of Swarmling's favorite bonus tiles are in the game. The late trading post scoring means no one else is going to be able to like abuse trading posts against them. Which is the thing that they can't do. So, and then like we said, the cults seem like they could be relatively wide open with Fakirs in the game. So Swarmlings seem really strong here. Fakirs, like the big upside for them is, hopefully that leech triangle over C1, D2, D3. If they can build up a lot of leech there, get the double spade in one of the first 2 rounds, that could be really strong for them. Like we mentioned, they have the strong possibility of like there's 2 really good openings they could go for, either getting the spade or trying to build 2 temples. I worry for them.
And I think
is if they can't,
go
if
ahead.
they will be able to build 2 temples. If they start D3, F3 like they usually do, there's a chance that they don't have a neighbor on F3 to build that second temple. So that's a little bit of a worry. But maybe they just take the extra coins and go for it, or maybe they start somewhere else, or maybe dwarves eventually dig down to F4 for them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think, when I look at this color matchup, gray has every spot in the world to expand to, right? Like nothing is going to get touched that they want, like at all. And the thing here is dwarves can be really powerful. I'm so scared of their opening here. And if you can get through the opening, you're going to have a stronger later rounds as dwarves than almost anyone else. But to me here, the way that these players are valuing these factions is actually kind of bizarre to me. If I'm looking at this and being honest, and we're on stream here, and it's hard to talk and to listen and to evaluate, but I'm trying to put myself in the minds of these players here. And the way that I see this, is I see Darklings being the strongest here, followed by Swarmlings and Fakirs very tightly, and then dwarves. Am I being crazy here, Eric? Like, and I'm trying to focus on the game here, so maybe I'll open up the chat here for a second. But I'll let you talk here while I just open up this chat and just see if I'm going to be ridiculed here.
No, I think chat seems to be agreeing with you that Swarmlings are being a little bit undervalued. The downside for Swarmlings a little bit here is the bonus tile. That's like the one downside I can think of early, is that they're not getting the 2 best bonus tiles, the 2 workers and stronghold scoring, or the spade. But the 2 options chat's pointing out, they can either just take some coins, get 4 coins in a cult step, and get started on ascending on the water cult, getting bonuses there, or they could take the 3 power temporary shipping just to secure the double spade, and that might be pretty valuable just to ensure that Fakirs and dwarves don't get it. But I think there's a pretty reasonable chance you just get it anyways. Like
yeah, I really think power. Fakirs is going to have a good opening no matter what. They're going to get spade, and maybe Fakirs has to start some weird stuff, but I think double temple is just. I think it's just good. I think double temples. If you're Fakirs here, do you want the spade or do you want the 2 workers?
I think I want the spade. The spade's really good. The thing I'd be looking at if I were Fakirs is taking the spade and locking up E6. We're not exactly sure where Darklings would go. There's a reasonable chance they go C1, but locking up E6 and making sure Darklings can't steal the middle there, like that would be my dream as Fakirs, right? Getting a spade is so good. There's a reasonable chance that dwarves don't get the power leech to take the double spade round 2. So Fakirs might just end up with the double spade. Like, out of
And then have
just
all four
happening
yeah,
to get more leech.
D4,
Um,
E6, F3, G2, and then you're off to the races. I mean, honestly, Fakirs here might be better than Swarmlings.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
a lot of it in this color matchup. It comes down so often to like where do the Darklings place their dwellings, where do the Stormlings place their dwellings, and where do the initial upgrades happen.
Mhm.
If Darklings choose to upgrade in the east, for example, dwarves are so much better. Suddenly, dwarves are getting a bunch of leech. They're way stronger. The whole power balance of the game shifts. So that's, I think, in my opinion, that's one of the small problems with this matchup is just, in bidding, it's so hard to value factions,
Yep.
without knowing where that initial upgrade is going to happen for all the factions.
So
Um,
let's talk a little bit about something because I always think I have this game figured out, and then I realize that really I know nothing because I'm getting these flashbacks of my game here in the Fire 2 Open as well, and being absolutely doomed as dwarves. But if we're talking about E6 being the dream, I mean, dwarves are going to get something, right? They're going to get maybe they're viable. I just don't think that the second best faction. There's just too much risk ahead, right?
Yeah, I agree with your assessment. I think Darklings are definitely the best, and I think Swarmlings are the second best. With all the instability from like not knowing who's going to get leech, where the first trading post upgrade is going to happen, where the power actions are going to fall, Swarmlings come out the best in that situation. Like I mentioned, Swarmlings' big advantage is the high floor that they've got.
Yep.
They don't need to start with a good bonus tile to have a good start because without doing anything, they can open with a temple and a stronghold. Like that opening, just their initial resources give them that opening for free. So they start with that high floor. They seem like they're going to do pretty well in the cults. They, like I said, it seems like it's a low scoring game. They have the bonus tiles they want. So I think Swarmlings are definitely the second best here. They don't rely on getting a lot of leech to have a strong opening. If they do get a lot of leech, like that can be great and that can propel them to an even better game, but they're not counting on it. And then with their starting positions, I think they have the opportunity to mess with other players a lot. They have a lot of like starting positions that work well for them, and so I think they have a bit of opportunity to control the flow of the game. If they start on H4, for example, that's a Swarmlings position that's been advocated for a lot in the community lately. The player named Logus has helped popularize that. And that can really screw with dwarves, to be honest. If G3 gets stolen from them, that's a connection hex for dwarves. And so Swarmlings, like kind of after the bidding, have this ability to decide like with their opening placements, who do they think got the best deal? Did one of the stronger players land on dwarves with a good deal? Okay, then I can go H4 and like kind of counter that. So I really like Swarmlings here. Just like the position they're in, the position of power they'll be in. And Zoras has continually been jumping on them, so it sounds like he agrees.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Zoras, we know Zoras is an extremely strong Swarmlings player. And I know from just one of the streams that Zoras is not anti, that might be too strong a word, but he says he doesn't like the jumping factions as much. So the jumping the only two jumping factions are in the game. And I don't know if that was just off the cuff that he said that, or if that's something he truly feels, but it does make it a little bit interesting. I do think the other thing that we can look at here, because we talked about Swarmlings H4, is that, when I was talking about that power triangle up there, D2, C1, D3, there's also the possibility that the power triangle could be G5, F6, G6, leaving out Fakirs. I think that's much less likely. I don't actually think even necessarily that Swarmlings would start G6 here. I think like in this matchup, there's an argument to be made that you should start D2, H4, or the old school D2, H2 is a little bit nicer with the landscapes in, because sometimes you can bridge over there and get that third town easier. It's not always the case, but I don't know. What do you think here for because Swarmlings starting spots? So dwarves are starting E7, F6 almost always. Fakirs are starting D3, F3 almost always, although you can make an argument that they go D3, E8 sometimes, maybe. And the only reason they would do E8 is if they are really tied to that double temple and aren't positive that they get the neighbor. And then Darklings are C1 probably. I mean, I like C1, E10 here for the most part. Because even though we talk about power starving dwarves, it's not that necessary. Like you can build up around E10 and play well with dwarves. Like you also want the leech, right? As darklings, it's not the fact that you're just trying to kill dwarves here. Like playing C1 E10 here is pretty nice with darklings as well, because and the reason I like E10 more than G5 for the most part is it preserves the dream of connecting through the north. Whereas I just prefer C1 E10. I don't know, Eric, if you have a different opinion there. And then of course, like we just said with Swarmlings, is it the D2 G6 or is it D2 H2 or is it D2 H4 or G6 H4? So what are you thinking here?
For Darklings, I'm definitely thinking C1, but my big concern with C1 Darklings is the fight over the B2 hex. Oh, we got it. It popped. So let's see. So Zoras ended up on Darklings for 15, Hephaestus with Fakirs for 30. I think that's a great deal, honestly. We talked about them being, much closer to Swarmlings than that, and certainly, maybe less risky than Dwarves. But I think the fight over this B2 hex is going to be the big deal right now. With temp shipping in the game, Darklings have the ability to get there early on.
Yep.
Round 2, they can take the temp shipping tile. I don't think anyone wants it round 1, so it should be there when the Darklings pass round 2. And actually, like, no one in the game wants this tile. Like, Swarmlings don't really need to ship almost ever. Fakirs and Dwarves actively can't use the power printed on it. So it should be around for Darklings whenever they want it. And it's going to be really important for fighting for B2. If Fakirs pass before Darklings and have enough power to take spades, that B2 hex should be gone. And suddenly, Darklings, it's much harder to connect through the north. It's much harder to get a town up in the north. We saw Zoras do it. We saw Zoras get cut off. In one of his Fire 2 Open games, and he connected through the middle. That was a bit of a weird game. But yeah, and then similarly, if Fakirs get cut off from B2, if Darklings pass first, take temp shipping, and steal B2, Fakirs are in much worse shape. They just don't have as many spots to start planning out towns. They don't have as much room to expand. They're probably going to start getting their yellow hexes stolen from them by Darklings. So I think that's gonna the two big stories that I see early on here is like, where's the leech going to happen, and will B2 who gets B2? Like, those are the two big early game things that I'm looking at. C1 from Darklings.
Yeah, so we see C1, and can you guys hear me well here?
I can hear you well.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry about that. So we've got C1 Darklings, like we said. We've got D3 here from the Fakirs as well. I expect to see Swarmlings. I expect to see Swarmlings D2, and I think Hephaestus is gonna settle in here for a think around, what's gonna happen here with this spade or two workers, and is the classic D3 F3 gonna make sense? And I think one of the things we can thank our production for, Chris Bizzle, is these faces. You can see Hephaestus just settling in for a little think here. It's a good one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the hand on the chin. That's like everyone's thinking hard about this. I don't think Gino has to think that much. Dwarves are going E7 F6. That's pretty standard. But everyone else has some really interesting things that could happen here with their openings.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Actually, honestly, a fantastic game here. This setup is. I'm already excited, and we see the E8. Okay, so Hephaestus does the E8. He does like I said, the only reason to do this is because now he's protecting himself. If he does get this 2 worker town tile, he has this double temple. That's just like the way of the world here. And he's done this, and I do like the move. I do like the move because he's always getting to E6 first, right? He already saw Zoras' placements here, the E10 C1, and so he's going to get to E6 first, and he's going to just go with it.
The thing I don't like about this, and this is actually the position he ended up in, is he got the spade instead of the 2 workers, which means he's not going for double temple anymore. Maybe there's a chance he could still take the 2 worker power action and go for it that way. But now, if he gets enough power to take the double spade in round 1, he can't really because he doesn't have anywhere to put his other spades. So like if that fell to him for some crazy reason, he can't do it. So now he's not even a threat to do that anymore. And we can see he's not going to get that power because Swarmlings are upgrading over in the east on G6. So this is what we're talking about. This is where the whole power of the game shifts. Fakirs, I thought, it might have been possible if they got a pretty sweet deal, in the auction. However, with their initial placement, he was banking on, those two workers falling to him and opening with double temple. That didn't work out, so now he's not going to get the opening that he was hoping for, and he's not even getting the leech that he was hoping for. It looks like dwarves are getting that leech. Oh man, and Darklings chose to upgrade next to dwarves too. Now dwarves are suddenly in a very powerful position. We were saying like their position was tenuous. Now dwarves might get the double spade. They've got neighbors on both their initial dwellings. Like this is suddenly like disastrous for fakirs and incredible for dwarves.
This is just the nut. I mean, Hephaestus has got to just be shaking his head here. I guess we can see that he's not, but Gino, and then Gino has just got to be. He's just trying to not, smile out here. But this is you can't ask for much more here. And I think what happened here is like let's call a spade here. Azorius and Sprockets are unbelievably powerful, and when they got through this auction, what probably ended up happening is they said, hey, these fakirs look a little strong, right? These fakirs look a little strong. And I think production now, we can probably get rid of that overlay just for a bit. We'll come back and talk about some of the key hexes. But as we were talking about just before he fades that away there, is that that B2 hex is going to be extremely important, especially now that we know that Zoras has started C1 E10, right?
Yeah. Like this changes the landscape of everything. But like you said, I think the players did like might have done an internal bounce check here a little bit and recognize that here seemed very strong after placements. We see. So something that's interesting here is we see Sprockets just took the Priest's power action. Something that I was curious about was how he was going to spend his power. So he had just gotten enough power to take the double spade, and he chose not to take that, which means dwarves now are going to get to take it. If he had taken the double spade, he could have done a couple things. He could have threatened Darklings like to not be able to use their priest on the cults. If he started digging up towards and threatening the Darklings, brown and blue hexes up there, Darklings would not have been able to use their first priest on on the cults. They might have still taken the priest and gotten into a cult anyways, but it might have just messed with the Darklings' plans this round pretty considerably. But instead, Sprockets opted for the priest power action. Still pretty good. Like, he's still going to start, probably going to place it to air and start moving up, on the cults, like locking up those cults like we expected him to. But the fact that this now lets the dwarves take the double spade action, like I just love Gino's position right now. Like this seems great. He what we were talking about is maybe being overbid in auction is now he's got the power to take the double spade. He's going to get to start with, Earth 1 and the double spade. Like if any faction that starts with Earth 1 and the double spade, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Like, this is looking great for dwarves.
And I mean, so let's talk a little bit about it here. So I mean, obviously, I think we like dwarves to start considerably. I actually, as Sprockets here, I think Sprockets taking the priest makes a lot of sense as well. I think there's obviously lines to take the double spade as well. I think both make sense. We talked a little bit here about how Fakirs is in a spot of trouble, just because it didn't play out for them the way that it could have. That doesn't mean that he's doomed forever by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think his game is completely wrecked, and we just see Gino here go ahead and not build a dwelling. And so this is stuff that never really occurs to players that are in the mid range or players that are just starting out to not take an action that they could. And it's all related to tempo, right? And when we relate it all back to tempo, let's talk a little bit about that, Eric. Like, why would he not build here? Like, what do you think his aim is here?
So if I were him, I would have built there, because what I'm looking at is the Fakirs seem like they're almost out of stuff to do, right? The Fakirs are out of stuff to do. They don't have enough power to take a power action that they want. They've used their spade. They've built their temple. So Fakirs are about to pass, I think. And if I'm dwarves, I really want that spade round 2. Um, it'll enable him to build a couple more dwellings in a dwelling round. That's really good. So if I'm dwarves, I want to be getting all my actions done as quickly as possible so I can grab that spade before Stormlings do, before Darklings do, like before they're done with their actions throughout it. It seems like Darklings might have a couple things they want to do here still. They might take the workers, try to go for a sanctuary. Yeah, my best guess is that he might be trying to, deny Darklings some power for a little bit, to maybe deny Darklings that sanctuary. If Darklings, like I said, are probably going to want to build that sanctuary. And maybe dwarves thought that by like delaying building that dwelling, they could deny giving Darklings that 2 power and mess with Zoras's plans somewhat. His planning for the round. Yeah, I think dwarves will probably still end up with the spade, but it just felt a little risky to just not build on it instead of just getting through and passing as soon as possible. But it couldn't be smart like it.
I think we're on the same page. I mean, I certainly would have built. Maybe Gino sees something we don't, of course. But I think for sure you really badly want that spade, and we'll see. I think it'll also be interesting to see how Sprockets handles this upgrade and temple and all this kind of stuff, because he'll be giving a lot of power here to the Fakirs, but naturally now, which I think the Fakirs are really happy with. And Zoras also is going to get a lot of power. I think Zoras is going to be able to do this sanctuary, correct? Am I misreading this?
Yeah, Zoras should be able to do the sanctuary. Yeah, we're going to see Zoras opening with the sanctuary, dwarves getting double spade and earth 1. I'm actually a bit worried here for the Swarmlings. Something I just want to call out really quick is that Fakir's just passed for the 3 power temporary shipping.
Yep.
And so he also took Air 2 with his initial temple. I think he's making the read that Swarmlings don't want earth 1, and so he can just grab it later. So what this means is that Swarmlings missed out on the double spade round 1. Well, they chose to not take it. Fakirs are almost definitely going to take the double spade round 2. There's no reason why they wouldn't here. And so Swarmlings are not going to get the double spade in either round 1 or round 2. And that's pretty bad. It's just going to severely limit their expansion. Swarmlings need to be building on 1 new hex a turn at least to enable them to use their power, their stronghold power of upgrading a dwelling to a trading post. And I actually I was in the game the other day where this happened to me, and I just was getting locked out of spades for rounds. And I saw how disastrously it can go for Swarmlings to just, be forced to doing hard digs and things like that. They just don't have the resources to do that early. They really like to be taking the workers and the coins. So I can see this going a little bit disastrously for Swarmlings if they get locked out of spades here.
No, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me as well. I think what's interesting here, and Zoras is settling in for a long think here. What do you think he's thinking about here?
My guess would just be that he's planning out his next couple rounds and which resources he's going to end up with round 2. Like, what he's going to have to be able to dig and build with next round. Zoras has played Darklings a lot. We know that he's got to have this plan of going for the sanctuary. That's the best Darklings opening. He took the tile.
And actually, you just making an production had just thrown up some wonderful stats there. I wonder if you could bring those back. I think he probably faded them out because we had ignored them there. But just Eric, as you were mentioning that Zoras plays a lot of Darklings here. This is something new for this finals only here. We've got these specific stats that Chris has pulled together here. So just to actually dive into this a little bit, we got Gino, who barely ever plays dwarves, playing dwarves. He must just be like, oh, dwarves are so easy. Like double spade, earth 1, no problem. You got Zoras here, with just infinity Darklings experience, the most Darklings experience of all time. Do you think that Gino's thinking about not building there to deny Zoras that Zoras doesn't even need it? Because Sprockets is going to do the trading post. So Gino is thinking about not giving Zoras this last power. That's the only thing that he can be possibly thinking about.
I think
because that's what he's thinking.
The thing that will be great The thing that would be great for Zorus is if he gets this 2 leech from the dwarves right here, and then
Yep.
Stormlings upgrade their trading post, and he has exactly enough power then to take the 7 coins power action to build his sanctuary. If he just gets leech from one of those 2 places, if he just gets either the 2 leech from the dwarves or the 1 leech from Swarmlings, he will still be able to build his sanctuary, but it's just going to be a lot less optimal. He's going to be having to do 3 power into 3 coins.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, I'm just all over the place today, but I mean, if Gino goes ahead and passes here, and Sprockets uses his cult step, then Zoros loses sanctuary, right?
Yes, and that's exactly, well, Gino did just pass. Sprockets did just use his cult step. Ouch. So Zoros didn't get the sanctuary.
Wow, I cannot believe that Gino did that. That's crazy. Do you like that? I mean, I know Zoros is like the most fearsome player ever, and this is scary. Maybe Zoros is just scary enough to do this, but not building a dwelling in round 1 is so much better than a dwelling in round 2. Like, we can't stress that enough, like, to the whole audience. It's very, very, very it's very different.
I don't know. I kind of like it. It's fancy, but I like it. So
I don't like it.
So
you like it. I don't like it. Okay, so this is why Terra Mystica is amazing, guys. Like, this is, I hate it. I hate it.
So if I'm Gino and I'm reading this board right now, right? So, like I said, I think Stormling's position might be a little tenuous just because they're not going to get the double spade in round 1 or 2.
Yep.
Fakir's start is pretty good, but they went with something a little weird by starting, E8. They didn't get all the leech they hoped. So like Fakirs are maybe not as scary as they would have been if they had just gotten a ton of leech.
Mm-hmm.
So Darklings might have been your biggest threat. Like if Darklings were able to build the sanctuary, Darklings might have been, might have had the second best opening to you with, getting Earth 1 and the double spade. So I think Gino just said, like, I fear the Darklings player the most in the game. I just got, the nuts dwarf opening, of, getting the double spade and Earth
into
1.
The spade.
Into the spade round 2. I just got the dream opening. I'm going to let everyone else have mediocre openings, even a bad opening for Zoros now. Like, this is a bad opening to just have a temple and a dwelling. So I'm going to let everyone else take their more mediocre openings and, beat them elsewhere. He's also going to get 2 extra points for building his dwelling next round. So like that's a reasonable consideration. I think this is like a pretty clever play that if Gino wins, like we can come back and point to this and say, like, this might have been the move that won him the game. Like if he ends up winning, right? Like by not taking Darklings out of the game, but by severely handicapping them. It's like a huge difference whether or not Darklings are able to get their sanctuary here. Massive. This takes Zoros from arguably the favorite to, fighting for third now. So I think this could be a move that we point to as being, huge for Gino.
No, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I think one of the other things that we saw here, which is interesting, that's very interesting. So Hephaestus takes the shipping power, right, for the power to make sure, like 100% sure that he gets the double spade, no matter how that first round kind of plays out, right? So he's got Air 2 with this shipping, and so the shipping is really interesting because that was Zoros's ideal tile. Like without a doubt, right? Zoros goes across the whole north in the second round with that tile, right? If he gets the sanctuary, he gets the 2 priests, he's going to have the workers, he's going across the north, and he's off to the races. Now, this is just played out like disastrously for Zoros. So Zoros, I think, here maybe takes a priest, it increases shipping, and then starts going north anyway. Or what? And what do you see here?
Yeah, I think if Zoros takes the priest, he now has enough coins to double advance his shipping. And that might be a way that he gets out of this mess a bit is, by just getting out 3 more dwellings this round, delaying his sanctuary till next round. It's not the worst, although it's going to put him at a pretty big coin shortage for next round and trying to build a sanctuary then. But I don't know. There's a lot of coins on the bonus tiles. He'll figure out a way. So
yeah,
if I'm Zoros here, you got to start looking at connecting. I think missing out on your sanctuary round 1 is a big enough blow that you got to start looking for ways to make up points elsewhere. And connecting and earning points on connection would be a way to do that. I think getting to 2 shipping seems pretty reasonable.
No, I mean it's man. I mean, it was a hair away from the start of the start of dreams that Zoros was, and this is the thing about expert tables, right? What are you going to do? Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows what that sanctuary would mean to Zorus, and I mean, Gino knows that there's no like Zorus is never going to dig that gray because it would kill his own game entirely. So I guess maybe you're right. Maybe Gino was right to do this. Does Gino win the race to G2 now as well? And the fake Fakirs are forced to. Does Fakirs get their middle temple? There's a lot of intrigue going on here. We got Sprockets also took Earth 1, so not that that's the end of the world for Fakirs here. I mean, I think Water 1 was probably fine as well, but it definitely necessitates a different type of game plan from Sprockets than we might have otherwise seen, which is quite interesting. And then, I mean, I think that the most tense part of the whole map right now is B2 and G2. And I think, I mean, maybe Zorus actually just increases shipping twice and gets 3 dwellings out as opposed to 1 shipping increase and then 2 dwellings out, digging B2. I think I might just dig B2 though. I'm not positive. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Hephaestus has heir to just put down his landscape this round, so Hephaestus actually elected to, he could have gotten down an extra dwelling this round, if he had just built a dwelling there on E6 in the center, but he chose to put down his landscape because his landscape is so powerful and he's going to get a lot of coins from it in the future. So so the fact that he chose to put down his landscape signals like with his heir 2, he's going to start taking spades and expanding and doing carpet flights. So I'd be worried about that B2. And I think I agree that for Zorus, just locking up that B2 hex now, is a pretty big blow to Fakir's game, honestly, not being able to get to the north as easily. So I think I'd just take B2 if I were Darklings. I do want to talk a bit about this Earth 1 pick from the Swarmlings, though. I think this is a boon for Gino, honestly. So we said that he made the clever move to handicap the Darklings round 1. And now I think this is just a bad pick from Sprockets. I think this is just wrong. Sprocket seems pretty contained in this game. He's not, with the Darklings where they are in the East, Sprockets isn't going to have access to expand over the whole East. He's only kind of got half the East to himself. The Fakirs have kind of blocked him in over in the West. He's not going to get dig like that Brown and everything. He's not going to have this unrestricted access in the West. He should still be able to get 3 towns, but this does not look like a game where Sprockets is going to be building more than maybe 9 or 10 structures. So he's getting, he hadn't built any dwellings before he took that. So, maybe he's going to get 12 points out of Earth 1. But Water 1 just seemed, so if he takes Water 1 this round and puts a priest on Water, he just gets another priest. He gets the 3 points from from Water 1. And it feels like Water 1 is likely just going to be better for him over the course of the game. Swarmlings don't have any reason to be building many buildings, expanding. There's no points for the shipping tile in the game. There's no late dwelling round. There's no reason why Swarmlings would want to be building a lot of dwellings. And so, in my opinion, this is a bad pick for Swarmlings, and it really hurts the Fakirs because I think they were probably intending to pick up Earth 1 later on, expecting Swarmlings to not want it. So the person who comes out ahead in all this is Gino. Everyone else is over here killing each other, taking the spades from each other, and he's sitting there on Earth 1, the double spade, another spade round 2. He's going to be ending this round with a temple and 5 dwellings out on the board. Maybe you get to pass for the points tile. Gino's I love his position right now.
Yeah, I mean it's very clear here that, and remember what we said earlier about dwarves being scary because their start might be bad and then they'd have to be playing catch up. I mean, dwarves has the clearest path to points and the clearest path to hexes. Right? No one's taking their green hexes.
again. It looks like what people are starting to discuss again. So hopefully we're back in action.
They don't need us to discuss. It sounds like
they don't. Yeah, exactly. We're just the window dressings here.
okay,
hopefully, yeah. Hopefully the ears here. That's good.
What everyone missed, of course, was us talking about how we wish Giants were in this game, but
exactly. Nothing important at all. So do we think here with Zoras, with his resources here, goes for a double temple, double dwelling opening here, and he starts another temple on C1? Or is that something where he just saves his resources here and builds Sanctuary in round 3?
Yeah, I don't really know what Zoras' plan is going to be here. A second temple would be nice, but he barely has enough resources to do it as it is, and that leaves him with almost no coins for next round to build a Sanctuary. I think at this point he might just be looking at passing. Like, there's no reason for him to build Trading Post, right? It just, he'd much rather have workers at this point.
Yep.
He doesn't have enough power to really do anything with it. Yeah, like the only thing he could do is build a second temple. And yeah, like I said, I think that might just like damage his economy too much. Like he might, and he'd rather just have that Sanctuary and get 5 extra points for it next round. That's really painful to be passing with 7 coins and 4 workers and just nothing to do with them. But on the upside, he should have a fairly powerful next round. He should be able to build his Sanctuary. He'll have 2 priests of income because he's getting the one from the cult. So, and he's already got his 1 shipping, so he should be able to start expanding pretty heavily now. It looks like he's going to be able to connect, just based on the fact that he has a lot of paths there through the north, and he's already got 1 shipping. So, Zoras has a way to turn this around. He's going to have he has this inherent scoring that is going to be a huge catch-up mechanism in the later rounds. The question is, like, if it will be enough. We saw dwarves get this incredible opening, temple 5 dwellings. I also think Hephaestus had a very good opening. I don't love this trading posts from him. As the fakirs, I think when you have your landscape down, you tend to have enough coins.
I hate the trading post. I think the trading post was awful. I think that was very bad. Yeah.
So he'll tend to have enough coins as fakirs, but not enough workers. Like, that's the thing you generally just want to be building up more of. I feel like Hephaestus maybe fell into a bit of a trap, and this is something that I know I've had to consciously work to improve my own game. Is sometimes, like we were talking about with Zora, sometimes you just have extra resources and it feels like you need to use them. It feels wasteful to be passing with extra resources, and he had 2 extra workers. Like, what costs 2 workers? A trading post. Like, well, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
But the why not here is because you actually would prefer to have the worker than the 2 coins and 1 power that trading post is going to generate for you. So I know I did this in my Fire 2 Open game where I opened with 2 trading posts because I was like, yeah, sweet, 2 trading posts. Like, it'll be great. I can build 2 temples in round 2. But I think it was actually bad. A lot of factions early on just want that worker income instead of the coin income.
So there's a couple of really interesting points, and this is for all the viewers, strong players and weaker players, and players that are just getting started. This round here is very interesting because every single player here wants Water 1. I think that it is going to help you score so much in this game. In addition to wanting Water 1 very badly, I think all 4 factions want it very badly. We don't know if Fakirs is going to double dig here or is going to take the coins, or if he's just going to pass and make sure not pass, but pass on the power actions and make sure he secures Water 1. Because, can he secure Water 1 elsewise? Is he going to be the one that misses out on it? If he misses out on Earth 1 and Water 1, is he in a lot of trouble? Yeah.
I don't think he'd be in a lot of trouble just because Fakirs, do have such a great inherent scoring ability, but it would be pretty bad. He does take the double dig here, and I think I kind of like this. He's going to get some coins back from doing the flight. He's going to deny the double dig to the Swarmlings.
Yep.
Swarmlings don't have enough power right now, but I'm expecting them to build a town this round and take the 2 keys, which would give them enough power to take the double dig. And again, so that's the 3rd round in a row that Swarmlings are not getting the double dig, and that's really cramping their ability to expand. So I kind of like this. Yeah. Fakirs now look like in a pretty good shape to do really well on network. Darklings had a slow start. Stormlings aren't going to get any points on network. So with this move, I think Fakir's kind of lock up at least 12 points on network. And so, yeah, I think this seems pretty reasonable for them. They're really going to get their expansion going.
Oh, and Zorus gets coins here. He's going to love that. I mean, Zorus is, if he gets coins, and then he also, we can just get the overlay there for just 1 second, not too long, but I think it's just B4 there. I mean, if he gets B4, if he wins B4 and then he also gets his Sanctuary up, I think he gets everything he wants here, right? He gets B4, B5 Sanctuary. Yeah, he does. That's awesome. I mean, that's what he wanted. He can't ask for much more than B4, B5 Sanctuary here. That's amazing stuff. And we see Sprock is going to go ahead and it's interesting here. So Sprockets didn't rush his Sanctuary for Water 1. I'm very surprised there. So is Sprockets the one that's going to lose out on it here, because we go Dwarf Sanctuary into Water 1, Darkling Sanctuary into Water 1, right? I mean, I was pretty shocked to see Sprockets not taking it there, and that would have, I don't know. Am I just over? Am I doing the classic overemphasizing Water 1's important? I mean, I thought for sure Sprockets needed it.
I think Water 1's important. The thing for Sprockets is that Air 1 is could end up being more points throughout the rest of the game for him.
Got it.
Water 1 is essentially 3 points a turn. At this point, Air 1 is 3 points a turn, plus it'll be 4 points a turn for the last 2 rounds. The downside is if Sprockets misses out on Water 1, he doesn't get to do anything clever like build a couple trading posts manually, like paying resources for them in rounds 5 and 6. That's sometimes the thing Stormlings can do is they've just got leftover stuff. Like, why not get 6 points for building a trading post? So suddenly that's not going to be an option for him anymore. We do see looks like the Water 1 rush happening. Yep, they're all gone. And then the other thing too is he could have denied it to someone. Like in this case, Zorus. Became the last person to take Water 1. He could have just denied Darklings Water 1. That could have been huge. It's much more important, I think, for Darklings to have Water 1 than it is for Stormlings to have Water 1. And if they're about the same for Stormlings, why not take the one that your opponent wants? I think this was huge for Zorus to get the coins and Water 1, to not have to pick between them.
I thought for sure he was going to have to pick between them. That's why when I saw, when I saw Sprock go ahead and just dig that, I mean, I just didn't understand that. I think that just seems wrong. But I don't know. Sprock is also one of the best, right? I don't want to. These players are all so strong. I feel a little bit sheepish when I'm saying that it seems wrong, but it definitely seemed wrong there to not go for Water 1, and especially because Zorus here with B4, B5, all of a sudden back in the swing of things. And what do you think we're going to see from this? I imagine Gino makes a town here and probably takes 2 keys, but I don't know for sure if he'll take 2 keys or if it's something else is more important.
Gino just took the 2 keys, so that's not looking good for Stormlings that they just lost that race. If Stormlings got the 2 keys, they were suddenly by far and away going to win the cults, right? They were going to do the best on the cults by far. Now the fact that the dwarves got it, dwarves look like they have fire locked up. Earth is going to be a tight race, but dwarves are right there in it. They're sitting at second on water behind only Darklings, who probably aren't going to win that cult. So suddenly dwarves are the powerhouse on cults now. And we already talked about the great opening that they had. This, in my opinion, is another disastrous round for Stormlings. They missed out on the double spade. They missed out on the 2 keys. They missed out on Water 1. Things are not going their way. They have not gotten to pass for. I believe they haven't gotten to pass for one of their 2 points tiles yet.
Yep.
The Sanctuary Stronghold scoring or the trading post scoring. So yeah, this is going as bad as it can for Stormlings. I almost feel like they're losing on points. Often Stormlings, one of their big advantages is that they're able to take Water 1, Air 1 fairly early on and build up a little bit of a points lead over everyone else, so that and that's why they prefer low scoring games later on, is because they built up a bit of a points lead and everyone else just doesn't have the opportunity to catch up. Stormlings haven't done that. And we see too here, so Stormlings have built 2 dwellings since they took Earth 1. It's gotten them 4 points, but they've built 2 trading posts. They'd just taken Water 1. That would have been, they would have 2 more points right now.
Yeah.
And I don't see that getting much better anytime soon. Like they do not look like they're in a prime spot to expand. They're going to be a little bit short on workers. They get a boost here from completing a town, but they're a bit short on workers. Yeah, I think Stormlings are in a pretty bad position right now. They just completed their town and caught up to Zorus in points. Like they're just catching up to Darklings in points, and Darklings still haven't completed a town. So right now, I'd say I think Gino is in the best position of anyone. His Dwarf game looks really strong. He got that early town, got the 2 keys. Like, seems to be doing really well on cults. His expansion's gone well. Has gotten spades when he needed them. And then I think Hephaestus and Zorus both have solid games going. Maybe Hephaestus might even have the next most solid game, although getting blocked out on a couple of these spots by Zorus really hurts. And Zorus has made a pretty good comeback, like you pointed out, like getting the coins, getting this this northern line up here locked up before the Fakirs. He's nearly got his connection locked up, which is really important. I think and then I think I put Sprockets in a distant 4th place. I just don't think things are going well for him.
Yeah, I would have to agree here. I mean, I don't see a way out of this for Swarm, and I hope to see one. It would be so cool to see him turn it around, because like I said, he's been one of the best for so long. So it'd be really cool to see something turn around here. If you're Zorus here, do you build 3 dwellings here? I think so, right?
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to.
I see no reason not to.
No guarantee that you'll you need to save that power for the coins or anything, because you don't know if you'll get it. Plenty of coins on the bonus tiles for you. That 3 coins and trading post points and a worker is looking pretty sweet for whoever gets that. It's just a lot of resources, and might let you build Sprockets just passed for that.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, it makes the most sense for Sprockets of anyone as well.
Yeah. We've got chat pointing out that the biggest thing that Sprockets might have to do with Stormlings here is, because they keep getting locked out of spade power actions, pretty soon they're going to have to just start advancing their digging.
Of course, I think that makes the most sense for him to even start doing next round almost. I don't even know if he should take double spade anymore at this point.
He'll have enough resources to do it. And so the big thing now is dwarves need to start. Dwarves are going to start being a little scared of Stormlings stealing some of these grays over here. Down in the southeast, there are 3 grays within relatively easy reach of the Stormlings. 2 in particular that dwarves really want, and dwarves need those for connection at this point, because Fakirs stole. This red. This is going to be D6. This red that Fakirs dug over near the middle. That's one option that dwarves have to connect. That got taken. He's still got a couple other options to connect through the north, but the south is way more open, and he'd love to connect through the south if he can. But that's going to start being an interesting race. Is if Stormlings advance their dig, that might be their way back into it. It's just kind of nuking the guy who's in first place and start stealing his important hexes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things that I don't like about, so Gino did a couple things here. He took a single dig in this round and dug on F4 here. So I really don't like that from Gino. To me, and I know we didn't talk about it as soon as he did it, just because we're trying to keep up with everything, but I'd love the chat to know, and just our viewers to know. I really, really don't like that. To me, that's his first big misstep. And the reason why I think it's a misstep is that if he was going to do it at all, that's where his landscape should probably go, to reach over to the west, if he was going to do it at all. And the fact of the matter is that he used a lot of power, which he could have used to build his, for extra coins, to build his stronghold next turn in the stronghold round, and then start spamming those dwellings out for cheaper. So really, it was the most inefficient way to do a whole bunch of things, because he also could have hypothetically double dug next round if Sprockets is going to go the way of advancing digging. And even if you don't think that that's the right thing to do, passing earlier and potentially even passing, I think I could be wrong, but I think he could have taken the Stronghold Sanctuary bonus in front of the Fakirs as well, which is just 8 points for him, plus building the Stronghold. Like, there's a lot of things I don't like about how Gino played this turn. And like, let's not forget, Gino had one of the best openings humanly possible. But this round 3, I think if he was to look back on it, I don't think he would like it that much. I think there's certainly, and I don't know, again, maybe I didn't see it, but I really didn't like what I saw from Gino this round.
I think that's valid. The thing I do like is him locking up the 2 key town.
Of course,
that's hugely important. So that's great. He got water 1. He locked up the 2 key town. So
without a doubt,
plus there. But I agree. I think it was, again, a pretty tempting thing. Like, hey, I've got the resources to take the spade and build a dwelling. Like, why not do it? But all those reasons you pointed out are exactly why not to do it, because those resources could be better spent somewhere else.
And I think
getting that dwelling down gives him some workers for next turn. Mm-hmm. But like you pointed out, building your stronghold gives you a lot of workers over the course of the rest of the game. Gino has not done a tunnel yet, so all these grays around the map are still open, and your stronghold saves you 1 worker per tunnel you do. He's easily going to make his money back there by if he builds a stronghold. So I agree that I think saving up your resources, getting that stronghold out, and then hitting all the grays seems like it would have been a really good plan.
Yeah, and I think for sure. I mean, I just think there was better. Like, as soon as Gino did Sanctuary Water 1 into 2 key town, I think it's time to pass. And again, maybe I missed it there, but I think there's times to know when tempo is important, because if you can grab that Sanctuary Stronghold bonus, get the 8 points, get your stronghold down, and then spam a bunch of dwellings, like, oh my goodness. And also, you probably pick up coins first, right? You just have everything then, everything. Plus the 2 extra workers. It just seems it seems too good to be true. Now,
looks like Gino still will have enough to build. If he chooses to, he can still build a trading post, a stronghold, and then do 1 tunnel this round. So that's still pretty good for him. This might end up not playing out too badly after all.
Yeah, and it actually does. It looks like Sprockets does take the 2 spades here. I don't like it. I would have taken workers here, if anything, or nothing. And just gone ahead and advanced digging. I think at this point, maybe Sprockets is just, Terra Mystica is a funny thing, right? He's been locked out of the 6 power spade action so much. He might have just seen it and just jumped right on it without really considering the other line of just upgrading digging. Or maybe upgrading digging is wrong. I don't know 100%, but it certainly seems to me like that was an option that potentially could have been considered. It looks like Gino here is foregoing his stronghold, which is, again, one of these reasons why he shouldn't have done what he did last round.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like what he's saying is he's got a lot of resources. He's got the dwelling points passing tile, so he's going to get a point per dwelling when he passes. So it looks like he's just saying, like, I want to lock up these spots while I can. Maybe he was fearful of Sprockets advancing digging at some point and digging the grays away. And so I think he might just be saying that he doesn't need his stronghold. A stronghold does cost 4 workers. I know it gives you workers back, whenever you tunnel, but you could just save those workers and not build your stronghold and just have 4 workers now. So it looks like that's what he's going with. Is he should be able to do a couple more tunnels this round.
And Terra Mystica is not an easy game to understand in terms of when something might be worth doing. But in this case, we can just look at it like, if Gino has the money and the resources to make this stronghold, he's going to get 5 points for the 6 coins it costs, and will he tunnel 4 times? Is the way I think about it. I think the answer to this game is you want to spend 6 coins for 5 points in round 4. And you're going to tunnel more than 4 times, which makes it just overall a bad play, I think.
But I mean, so the thing is, he's getting extra points by doing a couple extra tunnels this round instead of building that stronghold. He is getting those points back.
Fair enough.
Because he's got the dwelling passing.
Fair enough.
And he's also going to increase. He's also going to improve his worker economy. So he's not just. He wouldn't just be losing out on the workers from future tunnels. He's also gaining workers because he's going to have more dwellings on the board after this round. So I think what this is setting him up for, like what I'm thinking if I'm Gino is, hey, we've got back-to-back trading post rounds coming up. My plan is going to be build all my dwellings this round, upgrade a bunch of them to trading posts next round, maybe do another tunnel or two, and then the last round finish off with your trading posts and a couple more tunnels. This to me looks like Gino is making a play for network here. Building his stronghold is a huge investment in resources, and saying like, I'm going to be just doing a lot of tunneling for the rest of the game. If you build your stronghold around 4, that's like, it's relatively early to be saying like, for the rest of the game, I'm just going to be spending all my workers. I want to do a ton of tunnels. And he doesn't actually have that many, tunnels left lined up, because as you mentioned, he didn't build his landscape. And so he doesn't have access to some of these gray spaces down in like the southwest. I think what he's saying instead is like, I'm not going to put in that upfront investment to my stronghold. I'm just going to, focus on my economy and expanding right now and try to win the network race. And it seems like the network race is going to be pretty significant, with Darklings connecting up through the north. Fakir's got a solid start and have, an economic favor that's allowed them to expand a lot. So I think Gino just saying, yeah, like let everyone else build their expensive buildings. I already got my sanctuary. I'm just going to be happy with that. And I'm going to, expand elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I think he's going for. And I think I like that play. I think it makes a lot of sense. Going back to real quick,
go ahead.
I just want to go back real quick to Sprockets not advancing his digging. Chat called it out as well a bit. And I think I definitely agree with what you said. I don't like not advancing his digging here. Sprockets has a lot of resources right now, and he's not going to have a lot of ways to convert them into points. This round, he's already built a sanctuary and a stronghold, so he can't do that anymore for this round. The last two rounds are trading post rounds. He's already got 3 trading posts out on the board at the end of this round, so he's not going to be able to catch up there. And he's behind in points. He is like, way behind in points. He's almost 20 points behind Hephaestus right now. He's going to need a way to catch up. Like, yeah, sure, the cults will help, but he's not going to be getting any points on network. So Sprockets needs to find a way to get points, and he's got a reasonable amount of resources, just no way to turn those into points. So I think he needs to be advancing his shipping, advancing his digging. Like, he needs to just be finding, ways to convert those resources into points, and spending 6 power on the double spade when he could have just advanced his digging is just, it's a pretty big inefficiency in the way he uses resources that I don't love.
Yeah, I think we were 100% on the same page there. I think so. Can we talk about Hephaestus for a second, because we've talked about him the least, of the 4 players right now. I love getting your town here, but I don't understand why he decided to. Did he ever have the option to make the temple in the middle? Am I misremembering this? Because having that second town is so important. Like, maybe the chat can help me out here. Like, could he have not made the temple in the middle at some point?
I think he could have. So in round 2, remember, he built that trading post that we were bagging on a little bit. And he had an opportunity, I think, to build it, either in the center next to the dwarves, or where he did, over here in the west. So I think the advantage of this is like it gets him this it gets him his town earlier, and so his extended range earlier. He focused all of his upgrades into one town, and so therefore he's going to be able to start doing some flights now with the extended range. That is a pretty big upside. With Darklings having shipping, like there's a couple of yellows that you might want to lock up. But as you pointed out, like it is pretty bad to not get another town here. He can still get it.
It's pretty meaningful though. Like, for him to, so maybe this is the other thing. Fakir's with landscape, and this better than anyone, and it's important for everyone, I think, to know, is that maybe he couldn't build it, and I don't remember, and maybe the chat can help me. Maybe he had to spend an expensive TP, that random TP he built that we hated. Maybe he had to build it in the center as an expensive one. But even if he had to do that, like, I think that's just worth it. Just build the expensive one in the middle and build your sanctuary there, and get your extra town, because this is tough now. Because how is he, like, I know he's going to score a lot by jumping around, and he's got this awesome engine to jump around, but I mean, he's got water 1, air 1. He's going to score a lot of points. Don't get me wrong. Like, Hephaestus is playing a wonderful game. It's just, there's a difference between a wonderful game and a game that's like crushing winning, right? If he had this extra town in the middle, I would say he's just like, he's in a prime position to win. Now I just think not so much, because that 9 points, let's call it a 9-point priest town or something like that. Huge difference in a games this close, with games like with players this strong. Let's talk about here, because we're in the fourth round here. We're heading into the second part of the game. Where are your standings?
Yeah, so let's see. I'm still feeling that Gino is doing very well. He's got a cult presence that Zoras doesn't have. He's expanded well. His connection seems relatively secure at this point. So I'm still thinking Gino's doing well. I think, but I'd put Zoras and Hephaestus both right behind him. Like you said, I think Hephaestus has a solid game, but like without that other town, maybe not the stamina to keep up. But it is just going to be a relatively low-scoring game, and he's got a lot of spots to jump to. And the fact that he's got an economic favor could help him win the network race. So I wouldn't count Hephaestus out. And then Zoras, we talked about his terrible start, but he has expanded like crazy here. He has spots for 3 towns locked up now. It's looking pretty likely he'll be able to get 3 towns. He got Water 1. I think it could have been disastrous if he missed out on Water 1, but the fact that he got Water 1 is great for him. I think things look really solid for Zoras right now too, and I certainly wouldn't count him out. Like he's got that points engine as well. His Sanctuary producing just 4 points a turn for him. And then again, I think Sprockets has just had quite a few misplays and unfortunate things go his way, where he the spades just didn't fall how he expected. But yeah, I think Sprockets is the distant fourth here, and everyone else has depending on how things swing, I think they're all in striking distance of each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're all within striking distance. I honestly hated Gino's third round a lot. I hated it. Aside, like after his first 2 moves, I really didn't like what he did. But he still had such a big early advantage, and dwarves come on late with these tunnels and all this kind of stuff. Hephaestus has a lot of scoring coming. He's got his 2 priests every turn. But Zoras is gonna, if Zoras gets all 3, if Zoras can get 3 big towns, does he have the economy to get 3 big towns, or is he gonna have to get a bunch of shitty towns? Maybe he'll have 1 coin town. If he can get 1 coin town and 2 priest towns, if he could get there, wow. I mean, maybe he goes Temple for Fire 2 into an early pass and then builds all 3 towns.
Something chat's pointing out right now is that Sprockets does have the resources to cut off Zoras' town. He's able to advance digging, complete a town, use the resources that he gets from that town to block Zoras and come up and steal this blue, that Zoras is expecting to have be part of his town. So that would be a huge blow to Zoras, actually, if he goes for that.
That's interesting. I think he could do that. I also don't think it's like, I mean, it sucks for Zoras, but at the end of the day, Zoras can still make his bridge town up there, right?
Yeah, but suddenly, having to make an extra bridge is maybe the difference between needing to take a coin town and a priest.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right.
That's a huge swing. So I'm really curious to see what Sprockets does here. So he did go for the advanced digging. This is interesting. I wonder if Sprockets is listening in on this broadcast. I hope not. And no accusations, but
of course he's not.
He chose to take the double dig. Then later on in the round is just advancing his digging anyways. So that just makes like the fact that he took that double dig is just very inefficient. Like just kind of wasted 2 power, because if you're going to advance your digging anyways, take the 2 workers. That's also 2 digs. So I think it's interesting that he chose to do that. He's going to get his town here, which is great for him. But yeah, it would have been. I think things would have been a lot better if he had just advanced his digging in the first place. Maybe he was trying to block people out of the double spade. I don't know.
I think honestly, like one of the things that we should remember is good players can make mistakes, and I think what he's doing is he's already recognized that taking that double dig was a mistake, but just because you don't want to spite yourself, right? Just because you've made a mistake and taken the double dig, like his best move now was to advance dig, and maybe he had some other reason where he wanted to be able to throw his priests into the save extra priests or something like that. I mean, who knows what he's really thinking, right? But all that to say, I wonder if he takes priests here and throws it to fire as well, to get the extra worker and tie dwarves there. That'd be interesting.
Oh, he's building a temple. Is he just going to lock up fire right now?
I
So
think
this is
fire
actually
too.
this is actually
Go
a
ahead.
pretty big blow for Gino's game, in my opinion. The fact that Sprockets went, so Sprockets had a couple different lines. Like he could have completed that town, like maybe taken, a coin town or something, and like, focused on expansion and blocking Zorus, and doing that, blocking this town that Zorus is making in the east. Instead, he decided to take a cult town, build a temple. It looks like he's going to do something on fire here. Yep, took fire 3. This is suddenly like disastrous for Gino. Instead of having like a pretty commanding lead on a couple cults and looking like he was going to do well, now Sprockets is the one with a commanding lead on 3 cults. He had locked up fire. This is like, this is like 10 or so points that I thought Gino was going to get that he might have just lost out on. But yeah, I think this is pretty bad.
If we really stop to think about it, though, like how is Sprockets going to score points? The only way he's scoring points is through these cults. He's got no shot anywhere else, right? Doesn't have water 1. I just don't know. I honestly thought that he was going to attack these cults. So could Gino have done anything? Maybe I don't know.
I think Gino like correctly didn't assume that Sprockets would do that. Sprockets had the trading post passing tile. So Sprockets was was getting 2 points for passing with the trading post. So he just gave up 2 of those points to do this. So Sprockets gained 4 points by securing fire. He also gained an extra priest income by building a temple, which he doesn't really need. He's maxed out on priests right now. He only has 3 priests left, so he maxed out his priests, which he would have rather just had a couple coins and power. He lost out on 2 points from the trading post passing tile. This turn he'll now get 1 less point from error 1. Instead of passing with error 1 for 4 points this turn, he's probably only going to pass for 3 points. So I think Sprockets just potentially lost out on 3 points that move and got a worse form of income for himself. It's debatable, he did want to earn points on the cults, but I don't think Gino could have predicted that was going to happen for sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't terribly you're totally right. It wasn't like it was a genius move or anything like that. It was just one of his lines that he could have taken, and it just happened to be, poor for Gino. Also, could he have taken? Did he have the tempo to take water 2 there? And oh no, because Gino has the 2 key town and just throws a priest or a fire. I don't know. Maybe he does have the tempo to take water 2 instead of fire 3 there. That's actually interesting. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would have been any good. In any case, here, I like Zorus more and more now because Zorus is going to get a TP here for a town, probably a coin town. Get his bridge. Maybe he doesn't even need a bridge. Maybe he just double digs the green there. And I wonder if Hephaestus is going to be play nice with him and jump over there earlier or not. Jump up to A5. Obviously makes it a lot easier on Zorus.
Gino, of course, has the ability to tunnel up there and be a neighbor to Darklings, but after how aggressively he was denying Darklings in the first round, I'd expect Gino for that to be in the back of his mind and thinking that he wants to deny Zorus that 2 power and that neighbor. So I don't expect Gino to go up there until the last possible minute.
Yeah, I would agree too. Like it would make Gino Gino obviously is considering in a lot of his play how it's affecting other players, and as he should, right? And so I'd be pretty surprised. And Gino is going to score a huge amount of points here. He's got a lot of resources. He's going to build all his trading posts. And now he just has to make sure that he connects, and there's no problem there. Make sure he connects. There's no problem there. I think he's still scoring super well in the cults. I think it's still anyone's game between Dwarves, Darklings, and Fakirs, honestly. I don't see how Swarmlings does enough, but it's interesting.
The thing I'm very scared about for Dwarves, we were talking about this a little earlier, that Swarmlings with upgraded digging could really mess with them. there's two spots that this turn are within easy range of Stormlings digging away from gray. Down here in the southeast, we've got 2 grays that if Sprockets gets to 1 shipping, he'll be able to dig those away from gray. And so suddenly, one of those grays is very important for Geno's connection, but also just in order to be able to do this efficient tunneling in the last couple rounds and have that be your points engine while everyone else is building trading posts, you need to have available grays. And right now I see 3 grays that Geno can jump to. Okay, he locks up one of them right now. That's great.
Of course.
So that was my worry for him, is just, without having access to the southwest and those few easy grays over there. He's going to be running out of places to tunnel to efficiently, and that's how we were expecting him to earn his points. And he doesn't have as big of a points lead as we might have hoped or thought. Everyone else is still in this with him too.
Do you think that Zoras might pass here for this TP tile, or do you think that's too crazy?
I feel like if he was going to pass, he wouldn't have taken Coin Town. It's just my feeling that if you're taking this Coin Town, it's because you want to use it to get out a bunch more stuff this turn, and it's because you say you need economy, right? Whenever you take a Coin Town, it's because you think the economy can help you right now. And if he just passes, it almost feels like a bit of a waste of that economy bump. But I do agree that
I think if he passes for TP, he passes for TP bonus right now, and then gets coins first action, and then builds 2 cities. That's amazing. He's gonna, you know what I mean? And maybe he builds.
The question is, can he?
Go ahead.
The question is if he can build that second town without a bridge, and if he's spending his, or that third town, I guess, without a bridge, and if he's spending his power on coins, then he can't afford that bridge. Maybe he does go ahead and build the extra dwelling, but he thought for a while, and so I imagine that's what he was.
Even if he forgoes those, say he forgoes the third city and then builds a temple for Air 1 plus 3 more trading posts next turn, that's a huge amount of points. Maybe he should build a temple for Air 1 right now. If he wasn't going to pass, if he's not going to pass, or if he's not going to get that TP bonus, a temple for Air 1 is a hugely good use of resources for that Coin Town, right? Maybe it's too greedy.
Maybe my problem with it is just, so if you're going to take a Coin Town, right? A Coin Town is, you could take an 11-point town, but you didn't. So instead you took, so you could have gotten 11 points and a dig with it, because you could have taken a priest. Or you can get 5 points and 6 coins. So Zoras decided that having 6 coins right now was worth 6 points. Was more valuable than having 6 points.
6 points, yeah.
So what that says to me is, he has to have big plans for this, to form a third town or to win the network race, or he's got to do something to build up his economy. And so if you just pour your resources now into taking Air 1, Air 1's going to be probably 2 points this turn, maybe 3 points, and then 3 or 4 points next turn. That's good. That's 7 points. But getting another town, that's potentially another 11 points. Winning a network race, that's potentially a 12-point swing with another player. Those things are all more impactful. And so I'd hope that he has one of those bigger plans to go after network, or to go after a third town with those coins, as opposed to just taking Air 1 now.
I'm just so interested to see this pass stuff and what's going to happen here.
Okay, Hephaestus gets it.
Okay. And if he gets it, I'm not going to get his other town, but he's how many points is he ahead by now? He's got 80 points. This is interesting. This is really interesting.
Yeah, Hephaestus has 80 points. He's going to have a handful of cult points. It looks like he might get he might get some on fire, or there's a chance Zoras takes fire too to finish his third town.
So Hephaestus gets
quite a few more jumps.
Yeah, let's think about this for a second here. He's going to get no more towns, but he's going to get both his TPs and 4 dwellings out next turn. And his 4 dwellings are going to be worth 4 points each. So that's 16 points. And then 6 is 16 plus 12. So he's going to get 28 points in round next turn, plus the TPs, plus so 26 plus 12, 38. He's gonna have a huge score next turn here.
Yeah.
So is Horus though.
Zorus is going to have a huge turn, but this push from Hephaestus, like, you know, I've been bringing this up a little bit, but the fact that he was the only one to take an economic favor this game means that he's just going to come out so ahead on the network race. If he can get, you know, those 2 trading posts and then 4 more dwellings down, he's going to be left with 3 structures on his board. And I don't know if Zorus can get there. It's going to be close if Zorus can. Well, no, I don't think Zorus can do it because Zorus would need to build his stronghold to get his landscape out. So I think this puts Hephaestus pretty significantly ahead of Zorus, like on the network race. And then it's going to be pretty tight with dwarves. Like dwarves are also, it seems like, going to have a pretty hard time getting down to 3 structures left on their board. So
yeah,
right now it seems like Fakirs might be in a pretty commanding lead on the network race.
I think Fakirs are in the lead overall now with that. The thing is, Gino gets his other trading post here. It's always really powerful to have all 4 trading posts up, especially so as dwarves though, because your income is just so good. And if does he have the resources to get 2 more dwellings down and the trading post here? I think he's going to have to give Zorus his neighbor here, because if not, he's going to lose out to Fakir is too strong. I think he should go trading post into 2 dwellings here, 2 jumps. Does he have enough for that? Has just enough for
especially because the trading post will be completing a town for him also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's going for Air 1 also. I think
Air 1's good if he's going to build 2 more trading posts, but then does he have enough worker income? Interesting. Man, I love this game. I love casting this game with you. It's so fun. This is awesome stuff. Like, there's just so much going on.
This has been a great game.
Oh, yeah.
It's been, you know, back and forth, you know, who we thought was in the lead all game. So I'm excited for this ending. Yeah, like taking stock of some of the scoring right now, just like going into round 6. So we see Hephaestus has a points lead. Like we said, Hephaestus looks to be in the lead on network, and he's going to get a handful of cult points. But then do pretty well when he passes. You know, Fakirs have Air 1 and the trading post passing. So I think Fakirs are going to get 12 points when they pass. So I'd say Fakirs are in pretty strong shape. Darklings still probably have 2 towns coming in round 6. And doing pretty well in points right now. They're going to end this round, you know, actually up on the Fakirs in points.
I would have thought that Darklings would, even with the 2 towns coming, needed to be either they need to get that Stronghold Sanctuary bonus, which I don't think they're getting, and then build the Stronghold. I just don't see how they catch up with Fakirs anymore, right? Do you see it?
Yeah. No, because they're Fakirs and Darklings are going to do about the same on the cults, which is, you know, just a handful of points. And I think Fakirs are going to beat Darklings on networks. So even though the Darklings are going to get 2 towns, I think the Fakirs make up for that by just being able to do 4 of these carpet flight jumps. And yeah, I feel like Darklings are doing well, but maybe not as well as Fakirs. And then dwarves are also going to get to do a couple jumps, but just not as many as Fakirs. They don't have a town coming anymore because they just completed it. Dwarves. So I think the dwarves game right here is going to be about if they can lock up this water cult, and how they do on network. You know, if they beat Darklings on network, if they're able to stretch and like maybe tie Fakirs on network some way, like that's going to be their big question. Is, you know, I do see this as maybe a race between dwarves and Fakirs here.
Yeah, it looks like dwarves and Fakirs here to me. Swarmlings will get a lot of points at the calls. I mean, I don't know. Swarmlings is still, and Swarmlings, are they going to win that? Man, this game is close. This is tough. Like, no one's running away with it. Maybe someone in the chat has done the math. I don't know, but it looks like it's going to be close. Is who's going to get this? I guess the Swarmlings pass for this dwelling bonus. Maybe they do.
I don't think so. I think well,
it's a huge boon to dwarves if not, right? If dwarves take it. Oh no, either way. No, sorry, never mind. I'm being silly. Dwarves like Stronghold Sanctuary bonus almost just as much anyway. Maybe they even build the stronghold and then jump. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't even do it at all. I don't know.
Yeah, this is actually,
but
I don't know if I'm being crazy here, but I think there's possibly a world where Gino prefers the spade. Like again, I don't know how crazy this is, but I don't know if a spade and 2 coins is better than 4 points and 2 workers. You'd probably still have to take the 4 points and 2 workers, but
No, because he's getting 2 spades from this cult, right? He's got a thing. He's getting 2 spades here, so I don't think he needs a spade.
yeah, but where's he gonna put him is part of the problem. He doesn't have his landscape out, so maybe this is where Gino has to bring out his landscape. Um,
Oh, maybe you're right.
so the dwarves' landscape allows them to use their cult spades, to tunnel with their cult spades. Due to a recent update, they actually don't get points when they tunnel with their cult spades anymore. But one of his cult spades would be able to go towards a tunnel now. And so I think there's Gino just, like I said, he just wants as many spots to tunnel as he can get because he's going to have a lot of resources in this last round, and he just needs spots to build stuff. So I think building his landscape here, like taking the single spade, building his landscape so that he can use one of these cult spades in an effective spot. Otherwise, he doesn't. So he's got this one red in the southeast that he can build. That he can transform to gray and build on. Although Sprockets might just take that from him. And other than that, he doesn't have anywhere that he like really cares about spading. So if he can, place down his landscape now and use that cult spade to open up another tunnel for him, that might be the move.
Yeah, it might be the move. I mean, I think he'll probably just take a single spade then, I imagine, and throw it on either C4 or G3. I think C4 is just probably, well, I guess it doesn't matter. It's his landscape, right? I don't know.
Okay, he just builds a dwelling. Okay, so what he's saying here is he's not going to use his cult spades, to tunnel. Instead, he's just going to turn a blue to gray or something like that. That's what I'd expect. The interesting thing though is
probably wrong. Seems wrong. I mean, I still hate how his landscape's not on F4, right? If his landscape's on F4, he can do stuff so much more efficiently. Like God. Yeah.
We have people in chat talking about if he can get his landscape on I6, that opens up G1 and I3. So there might be something crazy he can do. So right, so he turns this H4 blue spot to gray, builds on it, then takes a single spade and puts his landscape on I6. Now he's got 2 new spots in G1 and I3 that he can jump to from there. And it seems like the line he's going down. So this actually
it's all necessitated by him not putting landscape on F4 though, right? Yeah, which is the problem in the first place. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right. Like I said earlier, good players can make mistakes, and I'm sure he's already like, oh, now I have to do all this crap to get over to G1 and I3 that I wouldn't have otherwise had to do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that I just don't think he has enough resources to do all of that. So right now he needs to, like, if he wants to tie Fakirs on network, he needs to build a trading post, 3 dwellings, and a landscape. I don't know if he's going to have enough resources to do all of that, efficiently. So he still hasn't built a stronghold. So his, jumping with workers still costs, 2 extra workers for him. He's already got 2 gray spots that he can jump to. So yeah, so I don't think he's gonna. He just doesn't have the need to get all the way over to those grays or the resources to get all the way over there. But yeah, okay. So let's jump back to how everyone else is going. Hephaestus took the gold. I think all Hephaestus needs now is a priest, and he's got like everything he wants from massive round.
Yeah, it's just over. I actually I thought that he would take the priest first. I know almost always, like for everyone watching, that 7 coin action is almost always the most important first action. But I thought he would take priest here first because he doesn't have access to a priest town, right? He's like not going to make a town. The other thing, he could have tried to get fancy and do some stupid stuff and do a bridge and try and make a town. I think that's just probably almost certainly wrong. I think he just makes his 2 trading posts and his 4 dwellings and just calls it a day. But that's why I thought he can do all that without the 7 coin action, but he can't do it all without the 4th priest, which is why I had thought that that 4th priest was really important. but maybe no
Yeah.
one takes it anyway.
And
Right,
the thing that he's now setting himself up for, like, and this is, we talked about Hephaestus maybe being in the strongest position going into this round. I still see three things that can go wrong for him. He still needs to take the priest, which he could get blocked on. He still needs to lock up these two yellow spots in the northwest. Those are two spots that Zorus could easily just dig away from him. If Zorus is able to recognize that Hephaestus is, possibly in the lead. I mean, I don't know if he is, but we're guessing that he is. Zorus has plenty of priests now. Zorus just built his stronghold, so Zorus is going to have plenty of priests to just dig those yellows a single step away. And I guess Hephaestus might have the workers to go ahead and do a hard dig somewhere anyways. But if he gets both of those taken and, maybe something else crazy happens and Swarmlings are able to steal one from him or dwarves, like he still needs to make sure to lock up those 4 yellow spots because he only has 4 available right now. And he's got a lot of actions until they're all going to be secured.
So let's talk about this for a second. Does Zorus have the resources to get down 2 trading posts, 3 dwellings, and his landscape?
Well, he certainly has the priests.
He certainly has the priests. So he's the 2 trading posts, the 3 dwellings, and the landscape. Does he have enough?
I mean, and he needs to get 2 more shipping still to connect.
I think just 1 more shipping,
or
right?
at least one. Yeah, at least one.
Yeah, just 1 more shipping. I can't see him losing those 2 waters up at the top there, like whatever it is, like 11 and 12 or something like that.
So if he does have the resources, I mean, this is what we were talking about, that he might have to take another like Coin Town, which is just so inefficient. He might have to like accept some big leeches. Maybe someone offers him like 4 power for 3 points leech, and maybe he has to take that. So like, he might be able to get there with so many priests. It feels like he'll be able to do something cool, but this feels like it's gonna be tricky for him to get everything that he wants this round, and he might need everything that he wants to have a shot. Genos got a lot of points still, and is doing well on cults. Network Fakirs look like they're going to do well in network. So, yeah, Zorus is in okay shape, and I don't trust my own back of the envelope math here to like figure out what he's going to be able to accomplish this round. And he's good enough that I feel like he's got a good game plan for this round. But to me, it feels like dwarves and Fakirs are in a little bit better shape. Fakirs lock up one of the yellows that Zorus could have taken, so that's great for them. But
I think Fakirs are definitely in better shape. Like, don't get me wrong, but Zorus is going to get a really strong score here, I think. And I think he might be able to get down to 3 temples. If he can get just down to 3 temples, he ties Fakirs but you know what? Fakirs has the trading post bonus, and Zorus is the only one without a passing bonus. So so I take that back. I thought that maybe, because that's 8 points difference, right? Yeah, so. Yeah.
So that's I think Zorus is just that weaker opening that he got off to is just really like, he's played a very good game since then, but it really has been that weak opening that like has come back to bite him, and he didn't have an extra economic favor in the first round. He didn't have 2 priests production for the first round. So I think Zorus seems to be looking a little weaker here, but we'll see. And then Sprockets, we haven't talked about him in a little while, but he's put up a stronger game than I expected, honestly. A couple rounds ago, I was saying I thought he was the one that was furthest out of it, but he's come back. Yeah. He's now competitive on points with everyone. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a good passing tile for himself. He's only going to get 1 or 2 points from this, passing tile that he's got. He doesn't have Water 1, so he's, going to be his trading post that he builds this round is going to earn him 3 less points than everyone else. But he does have an insane score on the cults. He's pretty much locked up 3 cults, and then a 2nd or 3rd place on water. So I mean that's going to be huge for him. Like he's got to gain probably at least 10 points on everyone else in the cults. So that's great. I still feel though like his game is he has a decent amount of resources left and not many ways to earn points with them. The question I have now is he going to get this last town? It looks like he can. I don't know if he'll need a fire 2 to do it, but so he's got his landscape down. already completed one town over here. Of course, for anyone watching who doesn't know, the Swarmlings landscape lets them basically build one big town. So instead of having 7 power of structures and forming one town, you can now form 14 power of structures and get 2 towns. So he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there right now. So he either needs to get 4 power of structures out, which doesn't seem likely over there. And in fact,
and he actually
possible.
He just took fire 2. So
just took fire 2. Okay.
Irrelevant.
So yeah, so he is going to get that town, which is great for him. So that's, no one else except Zorus has a town coming, so that's more points for him over everyone else.
Mm-hmm. I think Zorus has 2 towns coming for sure, and I think he can do it without fire 2, and I think he can tie Fakir's on network, and I still don't know if it's going to be enough, but maybe it will be enough. But Fakir's have so many jumps. I don't know. Zorus might want to. Okay, this might be crazy. Does Zorus have enough to waste a priest right now and dig B1? I think I might really, if I'm Zorus, I might really be considering digging B1 right now.
Yeah,
I know that sounds crazy, but
I think the thing is just, like we talked about, Fakir's, I think, just have enough resources to hard dig anyways. They're sitting on 18 coins and 12 workers.
Got it.
I think that might just be the thing, is Zorus just like locking up the towns. Like, Stormlings are about to form a town soon. So Zorus locking up the towns he wants to get, securing connection, making sure he gets the things that he wants might just be more important to him than digging a hex that costs Fakir's 3 workers. Like, how important is that really going to be?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like, maybe Fakir's will have, because Fakir's just have so many resources, maybe Fakir's will have enough to like build a temple for Water 3 or something, and just like do something past someone on the cults, do something of consequence on the cults at the end, or so like maybe Fakir's had enough stuff to build another temple and another trading post, which would be great for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't want to calculate too much how much they've got.
I mean, like in any case, like they're really strong. I think Gino's got a strong game too. I think Gino might be falling just a bit short here with this lack of access to these extra grays, right? Because he's only got natural access to 1 more gray right now. And you got to spend a lot of workers on these jumps because there's no stronghold down, right? So he's building his trading post in another dwelling for sure. And then does he have? He doesn't really have much more after that coming, right?
Yeah.
And it really hurts.
So Gino's somewhat limited by.
Yeah, it really hurts for Gino to. It just really hurts Gino to take that 2 key town and then just win 1 cult instead of 2, like you were saying earlier, Eric.
Yeah, he's got this massive, 2nd place lead in fire that feels kind of wasted. He's got 2 extra priests he can throw to cults to get. He can lock up a 1st place and 3 2nd places on the cults, which is all right. But yeah, again, like when you take the 2 key town, you're really hoping for a little more than that. It's funny. I'm tuning into the player cams now, just watching them all, crunch through these calculations. You can see like the time between turns. Like, I imagine all these players
getting a little bit longer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine all these players right now are doing some calculations to see who's in the lead. Like, so when I've played in the tournament, like this is around the time, in the 6th round, you've probably locked up the power actions you wanted. You've hopefully locked up the hexes you needed to get, and now everyone's just got a few extra resources. And so this is the point where I think all the players should be calculating. How many leftover resources do I have? Who do I think is winning right now? And with those leftover resources, can I do anything to sabotage them? And what we see Hephaestus do, Hephaestus just took Air 3. He might be, Hephaestus's math might be saying, like, I think dwarves are going to beat me right now, or dwarves are my closest competitor. I have some extra resources that I can just build a temple with. Passing dwarves is very significant to me. And I think that, maybe Hephaestus did that math and said, yeah, like this is who I need to, with all these extra resources, here's who I need to devote my attention to sabotaging.
And I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, a temple for Air 3 is 4 points on Gino, right? You take 2 points and you take 2 away from Gino. So it's a 4-point play, and it allows you access to another 6-point trading post, right? It's actually an 8-point trading post for Hephaestus, which is like, oh my goodness, right? Like there's a lot of points coming for this guy. He's still got 3 trading posts to make. They're all worth 6 or 8 points depending on how you're counting them. Like and he's got enough resources for all the jumps too. It looks like it's just, I don't know if anyone's going to catch him, but I would love to see what Zoras has got up his sleeve here. If Zoras is going to get his 3 town darklings across network, beautiful. Probably going to get down to three buildings. I mean, what a game from him too, right?
Yeah. Zoras coming back from that, disastrous opening position where he started with a temple and a dwelling. This actually happened, it was the last game that we casted, right? Was with Zoras, where he got cut off. He started, I think, probably the same starting locations, got cut off really, like, we said, like, oh, wow, terrible. Like, this is as bad as it could have gone for Zoras. And he came back and won that game by a point. And this, at the very least, looks like he's going to put himself in position to be competitive. I don't know what the results are going to be yet, but very, very impressive in both games for Zoras to, like, with Darklings, like, pull out of a bad spot, a bad early spot, and make a comeback. So.
And of course, extremely impressive from Hephaestus too. I mean, if we look back at that round 1, I mean, Fakirs were left out of the Leech party, and he had to do some very specific things to ensure that he got that double spade round 2, right? So I mean, what a way to just take it on the chin in that first round, make sure that it didn't let it rattle him, and then come out and put together such a strong game, even with one of the worst, really, like, ultimately one of the worst openings he could have imagined, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing Gino.
Everyone has really played a great game. Like,
these players.
I just want to call out that I think at different points we have said that everyone, like, was winning or, like, had gotten a good. I think in the auction we were saying Stormlings may have gotten the best deal. So Sprockets did a great job there, like, correctly evaluating Stormlings, in my opinion. And then after the opening Leech happened, we said, oh, like, Fakirs are definitely out of this. Like, Dwarves look to be coming out the best. And, the first couple rounds we were saying Dwarves look the best. And then, in the middle rounds, we started realizing, wait, Hephaestus is doing really well and Zoras is coming back. So, this has been a hell of a finals game. And
I wonder, did Zoras have enough? Could Zoras have blocked that B1 there? I mean, I guess it's just too late now. In any case, there's no point really in figuring it all out. But I think it was pretty close if he could have afforded it or not.
I think he has to have been able to, right? Like, he's going to get to take another town here. Either the priest or the shipping towns are available, meaning that he'll have an extra priest on top of what he's got. So I think Zoras definitely did have the available priest at some point to block B1. And it might not have prevented Hephaestus from doing everything he wanted. Like Hephaestus would have gotten to do a lot of stuff, but he might get to do everything he wants right now. Like, chat's telling us that there's a chance that Hephaestus can get down to, even just a temple and a stronghold left on their board, so they can get out even more structures than we expected.
That's wild.
So that could end up being a fatal mistake for Zoras, is like not blocking off that,
hitting B1,
that free yellow spot. Yeah.
Honestly, I think the only mistake that I saw from Zoras the entire game, though, was his very first favor pick early on. I mean, if he just takes Water 2, the whole game is different, right? Like, Water 2 first pick, he gets his Water 2 Earth 1. It's just, I mean, I'm sure he's going to kick himself for that once he realizes that was possibly, that was possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even Earth 2 if you want an economic favor. Yeah, like that was the thing that caused us to count him out early. But so if that hadn't gone so wrong for him, like we were saying this, if Gino ends up winning this, like, man, what a play by him to, like, deny Zoras, because I think Zoras is going to be right in it. And if Zoras had just had a Sanctuary round 1 instead of
God, yeah,
it's such a crazy advantage for him. And so I think that play by Gino and Sprockets as well, like, played a part in that by, like, stalling to not give him the power. The two of them, like, together, teamed up to make sure that Zoras had a slow start. And otherwise, like, I think we might be saying that Zoras was running away with this right now.
No, without a doubt.
Lumen pointing out in chat that Zorus made a whole video on how to get round 1 Sanctuary as Darklings. He's got his ultimate guide. So maybe we'll point him at those. Go back and watch it.
Yeah, he's got to needle him when this guy. Yeah, it's just too bad.
I'm sure honestly the play by Sprockets and Gino was fairly clever. Gino not building that dwelling. Was just probably a clever thing that he didn't expect. But
I think also a great game. If we look back here, I mean, if you look at Sprocket's favors here and look at Earth 1, Air 1, Fire 3, Fire 2, I mean, if he had just taken Fire 2 instead of Fire 3 and taken Water 1 earlier and Air 1 here, what a difference this game has. If Sprockets had Water 1 and Zorus didn't have it, and Sprockets just took Fire 2 to seal the Fire Cult and did everything the same, because he can still seal Fire Cult with Fire 2, I believe anyway, because he blocks the last 2 priests and fire, so dwarves can't beat him to it. I mean, just different game, right? Just a different game entirely.
We see. So Sprockets ended up he took Earth 1 and then built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dwellings. So he got 12 points from Earth 1, whereas Water 1 would have just been 15 if he had just not built anything in a different order and just taken Water 1 instead. He would have at least had 3 more points. Darklings would have had quite a few less points.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter what place Sprockets ends up in, that seems like it was a mistake. At least for his own absolute score, not let alone denying Darklings.
Yes.
We see real quick here. I want to call out that Gino took the single spade. I think that
to get down to 3.
Get down to 3 structures, and so I think that was actually potentially a pretty contested thing between him and Fakirs. They both needed an extra spade to in the fight to get down to fewer structures. We'll see. I don't know if there's a chance that Hephaestus leeches a couple power here and has enough to take the double spade instead. For no reason other than to just he only wants to build on one of the spots, but just to get out an extra structure. It's hard to do the math on the fly, but Hephaestus still has so much stuff left.
Hephaestus just an economic powerhouse here, like Fakirs can be, right? He took his economic favor first. He was able to get his economic favor and then Water 1 into Air 1. He is able to build all the trading posts exactly when he wants and still have enough coins to do everything he wants. Just a wonderful game from him, obviously.
Yeah. All of these players, right? Like we said coming in, Zorus and Sprockets were the 2 powerhouse names and the all-time greats, but Gino and Hephaestus have absolutely more not even just held their own, proved that they can Gino, I want to say just dominated Zorus in that first round. He did it, everything went his way and nothing went Zorus's way, and that's a mental domination, and that's awesome to see.
It's wild to see that from Gino, and I mean, there's a lot that went right for Gino at the beginning of this game. I think if Gino and hopefully Gino won't mind me saying this, but if when he goes back and watches this game again, as I'm sure he will, that second half of round 3 after he did the 2 Cult Town and the Water 1, I think that's where he just lost the thread a little bit there, right? Because I think he was winning pretty substantially before then. Yep.
Something else to point out. So Gino just threw a priest to Earth, which I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't think that really did much for him, and that was already going to beat Darklings on Earth. He's getting second no matter what. That priest could have instead gone to Air. Would have just gained him a point against the Fakirs. It gained 1 point for him and lost 1 point for Fakir. So in a game as close as this, that feels like it could be pretty consequential.
It's a 2-point play to Air. I don't understand that either. Did he put it?
Did he put it too? Gino just sent the priest to Earth.
So are we being crazy here, or does Fakirs have? I have no idea who has it. I don't know.
I'm gonna wait for.
I'm gonna wait too. But I mean, yeah, just well played everywhere by everyone. This game has been amazing. I think too. Even if Sprockets had just
even if Sprock had just gotten water 1 instead of digging that one turn, which is just such an easy mistake to make, right? I mean, he just has water 1 and then he's in the mix. He's literally in the mix, right? He gets water 1, air 1 right after. It's crazy. It's crazy. What a game.
Yeah, in that, so in that round where he took Fire 3, like obviously pretty good. Like Fire 3's, like what Fire 3 got him was it got him 3 power. It won him 4 points on a cult. It got him 2 workers from the cult rewards. But if he had just been able to have all 3 scoring favors, air 1 and water 1 and earth 1, we probably just would have gotten an extra 9 points or so from having water 1 instead. So yeah, so that feels like he's going to be disappointed when he goes back and sees that he could have had the dream of having all 3 scoring favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Not much left to do here. Sprockets is mostly out of things to do. Sprockets was just built a couple dwellings here just because he could. It's interesting. So like for the swarmlings, he has Earth 1, so every dwelling he builds is 2 points, but to dig once and build the dwelling costs him 2 points of resources. So he's not doing anything here other than getting in people's way and transforming his points from one form into another. So it didn't really gain him anything in the last round, but Sprockets is out of stuff to do, Zorus is out of stuff to do, Geno's out of stuff to do, so we just have to see Phaistos. He
just needed that single dig. I mean, oh my goodness. If he had the single dig,
needed the single spade. That would have been
that wins it for him. Yeah, no, if he takes a single spade earlier in the round, Geno can only get down to 4, right? And he gets down to 2, so it's 2. He's down to 2. Zorus is at 3, and Geno's at 4. That's a massive swing.
And even if he had just leached 2 more power right here, he would have enough power to take the double spade. Or even enough power to take like the workers and do a hard dig or something. So he is like so just short. Like Geno Hephaestus is 2 power short of having a couple different ways to score a lot more points. Like because instead now it's like a 3-way tie for the network win.
Can he get a 5 power priest and jump somewhere? No, he can't. That would have been really cool. He has just enough for the 5 power priest. Oh, that would have been so sick. No, he doesn't have available. It. No yellows available. No, damn, he really needed it.
That has to have been the difference for if Hephaestus doesn't win, that could have propelled him to the win, because that is going to be that game takes him from everyone's going to get 12 on network now except the swarmlings. That would have bumped him up to 18, and darklings and dwarves down to 9. That's a huge swing.
It drops a Geno down to 6, because if he doesn't get the single spade, he doesn't have enough to get anything down.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
he might have been able to do a hard dig or something, but
and Zorus had the resources. He ended up having the resources to block B1. So if he just blocks B1, if Zorus blocks B1 and then Hephaestus, I mean, there's so many things that could have happened in this last round.
Yeah. Sprockets also. So if you notice where Geno placed his landscape down here in the southeast, which was the only spot that he had a single dig available without doing a jump. So if Sprockets had even just spent a worker to turn that, to dig that away, so it was a double dig, then Geno doesn't have the resources to do that.
Yeah.
There was so many different things that could have gone wrong this round. Everyone. Phaistos seems to just be, waiting here, just staring at his resources, hoping for 2 more power to appear.
Yeah, he can't figure it out. There's nothing there. He gets the workers. He's got to pass. Does building a temple do anything for him? No, it hurts him, right? Temple just hurts him. He's trying to figure out if he can do a temple for enough power to he's trying to figure something out here. Yeah. Poor guy.
With that trading post passing, a temple was much, but that's so heartbreaking. That's so close. Yeah. And chat was saying it for a while, but I mean, of course, that's the type of thing that's really difficult to notice in the moment.
Of course,
that someone else wants that spade, and that you're going to have almost exactly enough resources with that spade to build your final dwelling.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, this is going to be okay. let's talk about how incredibly good all four of these players are for a second, because this was a low scoring track, and like fourth place is going to get like whoever comes fourth is going to get like I guess it's going to be Sprockets here. Fourth place is going to get 141. Do you know how high of a fourth place score that is? That's insanity for a track like this. Like these guys are all a bunch of legends. Like this is wild.
Yeah. And Gino takes it.
Gino takes it, and it's that single spade is going to be the difference. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, Gino, he's selling on the screen. Look at that. He's fist pumping. Let's go, Gio. Man, and look at this. Look at the scores here: 151, 145, 144, 141. 147. All these resources points for Fekir. This is like so 10 points between first and last. This is great. Can we get Gino on the mic here? Is this where we're gonna get him in here? He's fired up. Look at this Italian guy, just fired up.
Overcome with emotion.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna get
right.
production's gonna get him calling in here, and I mean, what a game, guys. I want
to point out too. You know, we talked about Gino's run to the finals, and now his run in the finals. Right? Gino won every single game in this tournament. He was the only player coming in who had that chance, and he won the finals. He knocked off myself. He knocked off Ranior. He knocked off George Shortwell. He knocked off Zoris twice. He knocked off Sprockets. Like he has taken down, you know, half of the top 10 leaderboard, you know, in all-time ELO, you know, in this tournament alone.
Absolutely undefeated. Absolute, just an amazing run. And production's going to get him on the phone here, which is awesome. We're going to get to chat with him, but. Yeah, the two titans of the game, Zoris and Sprockets, coming up in third and fourth. Obviously, every game of Terra Mystica, there's a little bit of variance here and there. But the reality is this is four exceptional players. All of them are not just experts, but like super experts, like 600 and above. Sprockets is a master, and what a tournament! I mean, we'll talk about. The whole tournament as a whole after we get a chance to chat with Gino here. But I think Gino is about to join the group here, and we're going to get on the phone. And hello, Gino.
Hello.
It's congratulations, dude. What a run through the tournament. What an absolute.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
Talk to us about the game. How are you feeling right now? Let's talk about it here.
Yeah, right now I'm feeling just amazing. I mean. Winning this Fire to Open was a little dream of mine, and it came true now. Amazing. This fail at the end, it made me so much pain that I put the priest in the wrong cult. Oh man.
Yeah, so
we talked a little bit about that. It was such a close game at the end, but you ended up not needing it.
Yeah, I was thinking the whole time that the cult is full. So I don't know, I didn't watch anymore, and and when I see it, I thought, oh my God, you're such an idiot, man. But
well, it's just an absolute torrid run through the tournament here. I'm going to let Eric just ask you a little bit about the actual game here.
Yeah, can you talk us through a little bit what you were thinking in round one? So you obviously made, I called it at the time. I said if Gino denying Zoris the power he needs to build that sanctuary, like if Gino ends up winning, that's the play of the tournament right there. So can you talk us through a little bit what you were thinking and the mental calculations you're doing as you're trying to figure out whether or not to build that dwelling?
Yeah, I really didn't want to give him the sanctuary because, we all know that opening Darklings with sanctuary, it's just too strong. I mean, going into round two with dwellings. And so I was thinking, okay, I lose one worker at this point, but at the end of the day, I just calculated if I was able to make one more dwelling in the round after or not. And my calculation said that I will have, after round two, the same amount of dwellings. And so I was saying, okay, so I just deny him the sanctuary, and that will be better for me at the end of the day. And I think it maybe could be this difference of 6 points.
Yeah, that Zoris getting that sanctuary and Fire 1 and extra priest production, that, I mean, huge props for that. That, in my opinion, won you the game in round one, and that's awesome. That's awesome to see, that foresight, right? Knowing that you can make a play that can not dramatically hurt yourself, while also like, massively hurting one of your biggest competitions. So yeah, huge shout out for that play.
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking at this moment, okay, first of all, I'm gonna delay the dwelling building, and then I built the first dwelling, and then I saw, okay, he can still go for this sanctuary if I build next to him. And then, yeah, I made the decision, come on, this is the final. You need to do something crazy.
Oh, I love it.
Gino, yeah. I mean, so talk us through how you've been feeling this whole tournament. I mean, this is some of the biggest names in all of Terra Mystica, right? It is the biggest names in all of Terra Mystica, and you just went through them like they were hot butter. So how have you been feeling through the last few months? It's been what a run. Talk to us a bit about that.
It's just amazing. I mean, I needed 3 qualifier games to qualify for this tournament. And then I qualified myself in a 3-player game where I don't even won the game. I came second. And I was thinking, okay, at least you qualified. So your goal will be that you don't have to qualify next season. So try to win the first game. And then I saw my group and I was thinking, okay, nice. Easy group. Nerdcube, Rainier, and George Shortwell, all amazing players. Yeah, maybe they underestimate you and you have a chance, I was thinking. And yeah, I think I was pretty lucky in the first game that, there were some decisions were made which went in my direction. And because of that, I was able to win the game, I think. Then the second game, yeah, I think it was a little bit of luck that I saw this strategy with mermaids and the others not. And so it was, yeah. Normally my biggest problem at Terra Mystica is auction. And I think most of my games I lose because I lose the auction. And in these 3 tournament games, I was always, pretty confident after auction. And then, all the games went pretty well. Yet in this last game now, I think the auction was very, very, so it was a good auction. I mean, we came all out and I was saying, okay, this is an equal game. Let's see who wins. Because I didn't know on which faction I would prefer to sit. So I was happy with my dwarf pick. And then I was even more happy when they upgraded both next to me in first round.
Yes.
Because it could go in a totally other direction if they make the Leech triangle on the other side of the map. And so the game is gone for me. And I was so happy when Zoras upgraded next to me. And I think he was so mad about me when I declined this rally.
Well, I mean,
I wanted to ask how much. I wanted to ask how much you were thinking about that during bidding. That was one of the things we were talking about. Is dwarves obviously with no color neighbors seemed like this an awesome pick, right? Great track for them and everything. But we were so worried that you weren't going to get the Leech. Like, how much was that on your mind during the auction?
Yeah, that was all the time on my mind, and so I think I learned this a little bit during this tournament, that it is so important that you choose a faction which get Leech in the first round or first 2 rounds. Because if you get Leech strafed the first round, it's always a tough game. You are just behind and you have to fight back. And so if you're able to get some good Leech in the first round, it's you will have a good game. I won't imagine how this game would have finished if they make the triangle on the left side, because if we look at the end score of Hephaestus of Fakirs, I mean, he was 4 points behind me, and he got literally, I think, nearly, so until he passed, he got 0 Leech, so he could do anything. But then, yeah, the rounds after, he got a ton of Leech, and then so he had a big comeback into this game. And yeah, I was worried a lot about picking Fakirs here, because I was more worried to don't get Leech with Fakirs than with dwarves. And so I was I had a better feeling with the dwarves.
Okay, so you made that read that you were going to be the one to get the Leech and not them.
Yeah, so that not a read, that was my hope.
He made the prayer.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the other the things that we just want to kind of wrap up with as well. So, Gino, absolutely congratulations! What an absolute incredible final. And then one person we do have to thank considerably, and Gino, you'll join us in thanking him is Chris Bizzle here for putting on like just a wonderful event for the entire community. You got, I think at some points, over 100 people in the stream here, just the whole community engaging in the event, and just so many people coming out to play. I can't wait for season 3, and hopefully we'll be Gino. Hopefully, maybe Eric or I can join you here at the final table.
Yeah,
I'm coming for you next season.
So you were.
One more quick question. Yeah. How many O's is your name going to have after this? I feel like you've earned 7, 8. I don't know, whatever you want.
I'm a little bit sad that you can change only one time your name at BGA. So I don't know. I need to make a deep think about this. How many O's? Yeah. Okay, also, awesome, a very big thank you to you, Chris Bizzle. That was the most amazing tournament I ever played, and I think I played some tournaments, and yeah, I just love this. This is the biggest win I ever had in my board game career. So thanks a lot for this.
Absolutely wonderful. Chris, do you want to say anything? I know you can't. Can you even jump in on the production side? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just putting him on the spot for no reason here. But in any case, guys, everyone on the stream, thanks for tuning in. Absolutely wonderful. Eric, thank you for being an awesome co-host here, and Gino, congratulations. It's gonna live on.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm so excited.
Yeah, congrats to Gino, and and thanks everyone, again for tuning in and making it a great like broadcast this season. I had an awesome time casting twice and playing everything. So see you all back again for season 3.
See you guys.
Bye all.